This ruling was a sham. It was a witch hunt, a total disgrace. Cole, we're learning more information about Joey Chestnut's banishment from the 4th of July Nathan's famous hot dog eating contest, and it stinks, I tell you. It stinks. Welcome to Wire to Wire. I'm Diesel. He's Cole Bryson. You Tolos who have already turned it on, leave it on for the entire show. We appreciate you being here, whether you're listening at 97.7 FM in Greenville, 97.1 FM in Spartanburg, or anywhere your little heart desires on the free Odyssey app. We appreciate you being a part of the show, however you're a part of the show today, Cole. But what stinks about this decision, and there needs to be a trial, there needs to be a witch hunt to try to figure out what happened. We have learned that this 4th of July, Cole, will be Kobayashi's last time in the Nathan's famous hot dog eating contest. So I don't know if somebody's on his side, if somebody's trying to make sure that Kobayashi wins one for the Gipper on his last chance. But I'm telling you, Cole, there's something fishy going on here. They're trying to just hand that golden wiener, or whatever the trophy is.
Orange wiener, I believe. Orange wiener. It's carrot,
Nathan's
right?
famous hot dog eating contest. They're just trying to hand it over. They're trying to strip it from our boy Joey Chestnut, and I will not stand for this injustice.
I am now curious to know what a vegan hot dog tastes like, because we do know that
I'm not.
I've had to try it.
I've had a salad before. I know what it tastes like.
A carrot in a bun. Is that what it is?
Apparently, that's a famous cookout gag. If you want to get somebody, let's put a carrot in the bun, because most people they don't look close enough.
That's
Somebody's
terrible.
gonna get it right. Somebody's gonna get the carrot in the bun. Trick. I mean, you should try it.
So, after I tweeted this out yesterday that Joey Chestnut was banned, I got some pushback. Like, there were some Tolos, Diesel, who said, look, it's his fault for sponsoring a vegan wiener.
He's not sponsoring the vegan wiener. He is advertising the vegan wiener. They are sponsoring him.
Gotcha. So he's advertising for them.
Yes.
And that vegan wiener apparently is now more important than Nathan's
Should we call it a wiener from now on?
I like the wiener.
A wiener?
Wiener.
I bet you do.
The carrot or the wiener. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
So, listen, should he I hate it, because I am someone, Diesel, that has really, really loved watching Joey Chestnut on the 4th of July, man. I really have. So, like Johnny Carrots on Twitter said, look, he replied to my tweet and said he chose to go vegan. Now he can take a hike. #RealMeat. Indian Kev said, the idiot wants to represent a fake meat company instead of the title sponsor.
Tell me, Cole, what's more American than taking money, a lot of money, by the way, taking money to advertise a product? That is one of the most, it's capitalism at work, my friend.
It's ridiculous, man. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
So Joey Chestnut has spoken out with a 3-paragraph long social media post. I'm going to read it to you. And then we'll get your live reaction on the show, the Tolos as well. Thank you, JD, for already jumping into the live stream, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Jump over there, find the Fan Upstate, and join in. You can chat with us. You can chat with other Tolos, too. Okay, so this is from Joey Chestnut. This is his 3-post reaction to being banned from the Nathan's famous hot dog eating contest. Quote, I was gutted to learn from the media that after 19 years, I'm banned from the Nathan's July 4th hot dog eating contest. I love competing in that event. I love celebrating America with my fans all over this great country, and I have been training to defend my title. To set the record straight, I do not have a contract with Major League Eating or Nathan's, and they are looking to change the rules from past years as it relates to other partners that I can work with. This is apparently the basis on which I'm being banned, and it doesn't impact the 4th of July event. Sadly, this is the decision Nathan's and MLE are making, and it will deprive the great fans of the holiday's usual joy and entertainment. To my fans, I love you, and appreciate you. Rest assured, you'll see me eat again. Stay hungry, Joey Chestnut.
So I have heard that Netflix is getting in on the deal. Netflix is going to pick up Joey Chestnut.
I'll put the system on trial.
That's right. And I want to know from you, the Tolo, 71307. Start your text with the word fan. Who's in the wrong here on this one? Because Joey Chestnut said in the tweet he was not under contract with Major League Eating. He did, as we talked about just a second ago, he is advertising for a vegan hot dog brand. So is Joey in the wrong, or is ML Eating and Nathan's in the wrong? I think that there should have been conversation. Like, I'm not saying just go ahead and ban them and be done with it. But, sometimes when you mess up, sometimes grace is shown. No grace here. Ban Joey. Ban the hot dog eating contest, right?
So I want to know, did Joey Chestnut, again, a fine American who has competed his ass off for this country and has defeated Kobayashi, a Japanese eater, many times, just building up, racking up wins in that title, between us and Japan. But Cole, if he doesn't have a contract with Nathan's or Major League Eating, I don't know how Nathan's and Major League Eating have a damn thing to say about it.
Well, I'll tell you this. Watch the ratings. I mean that. Joey Chestnut is the hot dog eating contest.
So here's what I think, Cole. I think all of this is just a ruse.
You think so?
Okay. Now, I'm not typically a conspiracy theorist. We know that you're the flat earther on this show.
Not true.
I believed. It took me a long time to change my stance on the Will Smith slap of Chris Rock. I thought all of that was just to build ratings, right? For a television show and a broadcast that had been falling in the ratings over the past couple of years. And I thought, hey, they know that this is going to go viral instantly. As soon as this happens, it's going to be all over the internet and people are going to tune in to find out what happened. I mean, they didn't maybe watch that part of it, but they did. They may tune in after the fact.
Yeah.
So maybe this is just my conspiracy brain going up, little antenna. I think, Cole, that the Wiener King or Czar, or I don't know what the head of Major League Eating is called. I think
I like Wiener King.
Wiener King?
Yeah.
I think he will emerge from his ivory tower moments before the event on July 3rd, maybe early morning, July 4th. And he will pardon Joey Chestnut. He will let him back into the competition, and we will get the showdown we deserve.
I don't think you can do that, though, because it takes months of preparation.
He just said he's been prepping.
You think he'd be ready, though?
Do you think Joey Chestnut just stops eating?
No, I think he stops training. There's a difference between eating and training.
He said here in his quote that he has been training for this event.
Well, I'm just saying, what if he stops now? You think he will?
No.
So you think he'll keep training and just hope that they unban him?
I think so.
That would
be the smart thing.
You know what he should do?
Ugh.
He should show up anyways. What's more American than him showing up, walking up there, putting his own cooler of hot dogs down, and doing it anyway? You remember a couple of years ago when there was a protester, some protester was protesting something while he was eating the hot dogs, he knocked the protester out. You remember that?
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's already a true American, right? True legend for this country, but I think he should show up anyway. I think
just pull a Cam Smith, show up, drop your nuts, and compete in the event. What are they going to do?
Arrest him?
That's a great question.
Do Scotty Scheffler on him? I mean, really?
Yeah. You didn't slow down for the guy in the yellow jacket, Scotty. Joey is a 16-time champion of this event, Cole. Yeah. I do think Joey Chestnut, who is a fine American, will find a way to get back into this thing. But if Nathan's doesn't allow him back in, shame on them.
I agree.
Shame on them.
Screw
I
him.
will officially be an Oscar Mayer man from now on.
Oh, so we should boycott, not buy Nathan's.
I think how we should protest, Cole, is that we should all take a Tolo field trip to Coney Island and throw Nathan's hot dogs into the ocean.
Oh, that sounds like a good.
That'd probably be like the 10th or 11th most disgusting thing in that water, right? So I don't think it might actually clean it up a little bit. Give
you
the
ever been
fish
there?
Something to eat. No, never been to Coney Island.
I've been once.
New York City, but I didn't go to Coney Island.
I went to Coney Island one time, and I was not really impressed. It looks cool on the 4th of July, but
if you go, you got to imagine what it was like in the 1920s when people didn't know about anything at that point. To them, a light bulb turning on was exciting. Woo, electric light. Coney Island must have been great back then.
How could Joey Chestnut and another network now say, you know what, screw you, MLE, which is Major League Eating. I think we all learned that yesterday for the first time. Screw you, screw New York, screw Coney Island. We're going to partner with Oscar Mayer or whoever, right? Oscar Mayer right now should be looking for a sponsor, a television network, Twitter, X, somebody, and pick a location where, I don't know, Coney Island, maybe the second bet would be LA. Maybe you go to LA and do your own. Forget them, screw them, to heck with them, is what I say.
Here's what they should do, Cole, is they should have a robot Kobayashi. It wouldn't be hard. The Japanese are great at building those kind of things.
Yeah.
And it could have like a little wood chipper type device for a mouth. And they have him going up against Kobayashi's record, the most number he's ever eaten in the Nathan's Famous 4th of July hot dog eating contest.
Yeah.
And Joey Chestnut needs to go head to head, mouth to mouth, mano y mano.
Winner to winner.
Against
just going over there.
This Kobayashi machine. You could call it his Kobayashi Maru if you want to. And hey, you could even put a little headband around it, put a little red circle right there on the forehead. It's not racist because Kobayashi does it himself. He does it in his competitions.
I have, just for the kick of it, I have some records of Joey Chestnut pulled up. Before we get to these records, though, because Dewey did have a good phone call yesterday, we're going to see if Dewey can make it.
A good phone call?
It was better than normal phone
I think
call.
You're thinking of 2 days ago, 3 days ago.
Was that
yesterday? Was rough.
Dang, I'm giving him too much credit.
You are.
Sorry, Dewey. I thought it was yesterday.
Dewey, you got to come strong with this one, man.
So, Dewey, it's our daily Dewey. If it's good, we'll let you talk. If it's bad, we're going to get you, we're going to X you.
Yes, I think Nathan's is correct in getting rid of Joey Chestnut. It's time for someone else to eat hot dogs. He's not the hot dog king no more.
Who is?
I don't know, but not him. It's Shane Beamer.
Shane Beamer forever. Thank you, Dewey.
Thanks, Dewey. All right, so let's go down the list here. This is just this is amazing when you look at what he's done in his career. You say, well, professional eating diesel, it's not really. I mean, that's not really impressive. Okay,
there's no defense, so it's not a sport.
Oh man, I can't go with that. It's a sport, right? All right, guess how many hard-boiled eggs Joey Chestnut ate in 8 minutes?
Hard-boiled eggs in 8 minutes. I'm going to say 53.
141.
What? God.
Yes.
I don't know if Joey Chestnut is married or not, but I would not want to ride with him on the way home in the car.
You think he goes home? I just feel like he'd pass out somewhere. He also ate 53 soft tacos from Taco Bell in 9 minutes.
You had me at the soft tacos. You lost me at the Taco Bell.
Okay, pretend like you didn't hear Taco Bell. 53 soft tacos in 9 minutes. That's unreal. Hot dogs was 76 and 10.
God almighty.
That is a lot of that was 2021.
I don't know, Cole. I don't know that I've eaten 76 hot dogs in the last decade.
Have you eaten, honestly, have you eaten 76 hot dogs in your life, you think?
Let's see, 76 hot dogs. I'd have to be eating 8 dogs a year. I think
do you eat 8 a year?
I don't know that I don't think I do. I don't think I do. I probably eat like 5 hot dogs a year.
I was thinking the same thing, right? You don't eat them a lot.
You eat them at 4th of July.
Yeah.
You always go to like a Super Bowl party or something like that, and they've got hot dogs there, so you may have one. You go to a Memorial Day cookout or a Labor Day cookout or something like that. You have a dog there. But Cole, I'm not sure that I've had 8 dogs this last decade in my 30s.
Think 2024. I don't know.
Or 76 in the last decade, I should say.
I don't know in 2024. I'm honestly right now trying to think really hard about this. In 2024, if I've even eaten I guess I've maybe eaten 2 in 2024. Did we eat hot dogs at No, that was the Masters thing. No, I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know if I've eaten that many. So for him to have eaten 76 in 10 minutes.
Jeez. And you got to think he's got to do all the training too, right? Like You go
That's
to
true.
watch a round of golf, like a golf tournament. They play 2 or 3 training rounds before going out and playing golf. So they're playing like 7 rounds of golf, not just 4. So Joey Chestnut is doing this probably. I would love to know his training regimen. Like, does he have to do training 3 days a week leading up to this?
God, you would
Once
think
a
it's
week
got to be
leading
like
up
at
to
least
this?
twice a week, right? All
So
right,
this dude is eating potentially, Cole,
hundreds.
200 wieners a week.
Correct. No, it's got to be. Seriously,
200
think about it.
weenies a week.
All right, chicken wings. In 30 minutes. Now, it does not say boneless or traditional. I would assume traditional.
Yeah. Because those are just chicken nuggets.
That's right.
If they're boneless, and I'm not a boneless chicken wing hater.
Okay.
I'm not. I like boneless chicken wings, but let's be real. It's just a chicken tender cut up into pieces.
Yeah, it is. It's a nugget in a nugget
In
form.
30 minutes, I'm going to say that he ate. Yeah, you might as well just cut it into dinosaur shapes if you're going to go that far. I'm going to say in 30 minutes he ate like 200.
182.
Wow.
So yeah, right there at it. That's 182 chicken wings in 30 minutes, Joey Chestnut. That is unbelievable. What is a meat pie? Do you know?
That's exactly what it sounds like. It's a meat pie.
See, I don't think
Kind of like a chicken pot pie.
okay.
Maybe with beef in it instead of chicken.
I've never heard of that. I mean, maybe I have. Euros, cheesesteaks, funnel cakes. All right. Funnel cakes. In 10 minutes, Joey Chestnut Diesel. I'm just highlighting a few really impressive ones.
30 funnel cakes.
It doesn't say the number. It says the poundage.
Oh, my God.
5.9 pounds
Oh,
of funnel cake in 10 minutes,
God.
which is fascinating, right?
That churns the stomach.
Yeah, I mean, 5 pounds. I mean, you've held like a 5-pound fish.
Yeah.
That's a lot of funnel cakes. That is a lot. All right, this one's disgusting. Twinkies. By the way, who eats Twinkies anymore anyways, right? Those are disgusting. Do you like those?
I do like Twinkies,
See,
but
I don't
I haven't bought Twinkies in easily 15 years.
In 6 minutes, which is not long at all, 121.
Oh my God.
Like, how is
Imagine
this man
being
still
that guy's
alive?
doctor.
Diesel?
You could retire off of one client.
You probably could, but I bet he doesn't have one, right? There's no way, like, this guy's health, it can't be good, can it?
I mean, you got to think, do they go and throw it up? They got to go throw it up, right? Like, there's no way. There's no way that, like, his heart would have exploded long ago. But I guess that's what makes him an athlete, right?
But, like, I don't understand. Like, there's a difference between being an athlete and having freaking heart trouble. I don't understand how he hasn't had any heart issues. Or what else happens when you eat too much? I mean, diabetes. Is he at risk for diabetes?
Well, maybe with the Twinkies and with the funnel cakes and all the sweets. I know that he's done ice cream as well. God, I couldn't done
Ice cream sandwiches. I'm glad you said that. 6 freaking minutes. Joey Chestnut, ice cream sandwiches. 25 and a half.
Do you think he's got like a punch card with heart transplants? Like where he pays for 7, he gets the 8th one free?
You know what's crazy? Like when I eat ice cream, I don't know if this is just a me thing, but you know how like if you bite into it the wrong way, it just makes your entire mouth just like freezing cold, your teeth, you get brain. How does he eat 25 and a half ice cream sandwiches in 6 minutes and not have some kind of like brain? That's unbelievable. This dude is like, I'd say Joey Chestnut's more impressive than Tom Brady, Michael Jordan. I mean, yeah, they played a sport. Like anybody can play a sport. This is stupid. 121 Twinkies in 6 minutes. Pepperoni roll. What is a pepperoni roll? Is that like a
it's like kind of like a calzone.
Oh, gotcha. 36 of those in 9 minutes. That's pretty impressive. Fish tacos, 30 tacos in 5 minutes of fish.
Oh, I love fish tacos.
I do too, but 30 of them? Jeez, this dude's unbelievable. So anyways, look, those are some records. He is the man. Like he's the man, and the fact that they have banned him, it's a shame. It's just not American, and I think everybody should boycott watching. I'm not watching.
No,
not watching.
No.
I'll watch. I'll go watch fireworks or something. You know,
by protest, Cole. Let's just go get a pack of hot dogs. Nathan's Famous. Drop them right in the trash.
I agree.
They're probably like, fine, do it. You already paid us. We don't care.
That's true.
Yeah, if you've got it, you paid for it.
Well, continue to get your thoughts in on Joey. It's a sad day. It's a sad week for me. I love Joey Chestnut. He's the GOAT. He's
disgrace.
He is. It's a disgrace.
Total
man.
witch hunt.
It really is. Coming up next, though, we asked the question: And I referenced this article by Michelle Smith. It's a really good article. Are we ruining Caitlin Clark? What do I mean by that? I'll tell you next. When I saw this article, Diesel, I was thinking to myself, surely there's no way this is true, right? Like, surely people out there really don't believe that we are ruining Caitlin Clark. What does that even mean, ruining Caitlin Clark? Well, I started reading the article and I was like, man, you know what? This is intriguing. Michelle Smith, who wrote this, I thought did a fantastic job. I just don't know that I would use the word ruining when you talk about Caitlin Clark and the way that we're making her out to be. Obviously, being a fantastic star in college, now being in the WNBA. Michelle Smith says of SF Gate, by the way, says we might just be ruining her, and her going to the Olympics, Diesel, is her not going is a good thing according to Michelle Smith. And I want to get your thoughts on this. I want the Tolo's thoughts as well. 71307. Start your text with the word fan. When initially when you hear that, just like I did, Diesel, when you read the headline of the article, which by the way, sometimes it helps to actually click on it and read it, right? I was kind of turned off by that. But initially, when you hear me say that maybe we are ruining Caitlin Clark, your immediate reaction on that sentence?
I think we're protecting Caitlin Clark by not putting her in the Olympics because she needs more time. Her body's not ready. What do they mean by ruining Caitlin Clark?
Well, I'm glad you asked.
In the interviews that I've heard, the quotes that I've heard from her, she seems to be still the same humble basketball player, humble and hungry basketball player that she's always been. I don't know that we're ruining her. I think it's that we as fans don't know how to operate when here's this media darling who's not automatically being handed all of these accolades and awards and inclusion on lists and teams and this and that's, and we don't know how to handle that.
So I'm glad you asked, what does it mean by ruining her? Excuse me. Michelle Smith of SF Gate says, I do not want to see Caitlin Clark in Paris at the Olympics. I don't want to see her so much eating a baguette during July and August. And it's not because I don't like Caitlin or I'm resentful of her popularity and success or because I'm a hater of the WNBA in general. Michelle goes on to say, Diesel, Clark is a young woman I've personally interviewed in a group setting a handful of times and who I've only had an occasion to write about once or twice. Yet her impact on the sport of women's basketball has been seismic. She has transcended the sport and broken into mainstream culture in a way that is rarely seen for a female athlete. It's exciting and it's groundbreaking. But, big but, right? She says the circus that has been foisted upon Clark is ruining the moment. With a lack of history, a lack of perspective, and a lack of persuasive lack of chill, we are in danger of ruining Caitlin Clark, says Michelle Smith. She asked the question, why do we do these things to young women? Why do we protect ourselves and our perspectives about gender, race, class, and politics onto them and their experiences as if they are some sort of two-dimensional blank screen rather than the three-dimensional people that they really are? And she points out a few athletes, Diesel, like Naomi Osaka, who withdrew from the French Open in 2021 to take a break on her mental health. She was a tennis player. I don't know if you remember or not, but she was really hot at the time, withdrew from the French Open in 2021 and said, look, I need to take a mental health break. Simone Biles dropped out of the Tokyo Games 3 years ago because they put crushing pressure on her. That was the reason that she dropped out. So Diesel Clark, who's 22 years old, I think what Michelle is getting at is that we have a chance of ruining her if we continue to put this amount of pressure on there. I hope that answers kind of the definition of what it means when I say ruining Caitlin Clark.
I think we certainly risk putting her in a position where she says nothing I do is good enough for the fans.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's anybody who can completely block out all of that pressure, all of those expectations. We have certainly heaped a ton of expectation. And look, on its surface, it's a good thing that the league is getting all this additional attention because of Caitlin Clark, because people will pay attention to Caitlin Clark and then they will learn how good other players are just by paying attention to it. I mean, you have to, right? It's by proximity, you're going to learn that, oh, here's this player on her team that's really good. Here's this player that she's playing against who is really good. I mean, that is if we've got a fan base who's responsible enough in general to go actually watch the games and to consume more than just the internet hype. They will learn about other players as well. So I think it's a rising tide that raises all ships. I do question, you're right, Cole. I mean, could they break Caitlin Clark mentally by heaping all this pressure on her and kind of getting in her own head and making her believe that you are being snubbed. You're being treated unfairly because you're a rookie in this league, because you're not being put on international teams when you've only played 12 games.
So here's a statistic that really puts into perspective what the game has done in the last, or where the game has gone, rather, in the last few years, Diesel. The WNBA issued a press release just a few days ago that said more than half of all WNBA games in May have been sellouts, and the league has sold 94% of all possible seats for those games. Viewership for television games on ABC and ESPN tripled over last season, and merchandise is selling at record levels, Diesel, up 756%. So merchandise sales for the WNBA is up 756%, which is a mighty increase, right?
Sure.
The Golden State Valkyries, they have more than 12,000 season ticket deposits already. I don't know if you can say this is all Caitlin Clark. Like, I don't think it's fair to say this is 100% because of her, but I do think that, like, when I go back and watch some of her games, maybe she is starting to feel the pressure a little bit, like her facial expressions. She's shooting the ball incredible, but I just wonder, I ask myself, is she starting to feel this pressure?
Well, you got to question, is the frustration because she's on a bad team, and that's just part of being a rookie in the NBA, right? If you're elite, you get drafted by the worst teams, and that's just, it happens. We see it in the NFL. We see it in the NBA. We don't see it really a whole lot in Major League Baseball, because when you get drafted, you got to work your way up anyway, right? Yeah. So maybe that's why the perspective a lot of us need to take is she needs time to develop and get through this. These are growing pains. I know that she's got people in her corner who are telling her these things, that are reminding her, hey, when you were at Iowa, you had the best of the best around you, right? You had some of the best around you. When you were in high school, you probably had some really good players around you, but now you're in the WNBA and you got drafted number 1 to resurrect this franchise, to save this franchise from the terrible decisions that they've made up to this point. And you are going to be tested, and you are going to be frustrated, and you are going to be knocked around and beat up as a rookie, because that's what happens in every sports league, right? Like, rookies getting beat up is not exclusive to the WNBA. It happens in every sport. You're telling me that Victor Wembanyama didn't take some shots this year because he's Victor Wembanyama? You're telling me that Brandon Miller from Charlotte didn't take some shots this year? You're telling me that the ball boys didn't take some shots because their dad upset a lot of people? Yeah, it happens. It's the way of the world. You are now on the bottom of a new totem pole. You reached the tippy top of the one that you were on at Iowa. And guess what? Now you're at the bottom of a new totem pole. You got to start over, girl.
So here's what's fascinating. Caitlin Clark didn't ask anyone to pit her against the league's most established players, right? She didn't ask anyone to create false narratives out of the things that have been said and not said. She didn't ask Diesel to be painted as a savior for the sport. And she certainly doesn't need to be painted as a villain. On the floor, she's been thrilling offensively. Obviously, her turnovers are something that has to get better. She has to stop turning the ball over as much as she is. She's been a draw. She sold tickets. She sold jerseys. She's been a lightning rod. Off the floor, she's humble. She says all the right things. But the pressure eventually, like, human beings are not built just to be like this untouchable force, this untouchable object.
We're not robots.
We're not robots. Pressure gets to everybody. Sure. Do some people handle it a lot better than others? Yeah. But pressure does get to everybody, and that's why it's so tough. And I just hope and pray, Diesel, that this does not turn into eventually Caitlin Clark feels the pressure and it starts to affect what she does off the floor or on the floor.
Yeah. I mean, again, rookie frustrations are a thing. They're common for the best players in the league. We've seen it with NBA players, male NBA players. We've seen it with guys in the NFL. We've seen them get frustrated, and it's part of the process, right? It's part of the growing pains. And I trust that Caitlin Clark has the people around her who are saying things like that. They're in her ear saying, shake off all this noise, shake off the disappointing performances. You're playing well. We're seeing the improvement in your game, right? We are training you to get better at this level. All of these things, it's all part of the process. You don't expect rookies in any league to be insanely talented. Maybe the NBA, because they don't play any defense, right? So a rookie is younger than the other guys, he's sprier than these other guys, and maybe you can come in and be wildly successful as a rookie in the NBA. But it's rare when it happens in other sports.
Yeah, it is.
It is rare. So you got to give her time to develop, and she'll be fine.
And that's what I hope, right? Like, that's what I hope. I hope that she just, she has to have people around her, Diesel, and I think she does. She needs to have people in her corner that are helping her with the pressure, because let's be honest, nobody else has ever had the pressure that Caitlin Clark has in the WNBA.
No.
So this is kind of unprecedented. LeBron James coming out of high school, he had a ton of pressure on him in the NBA. I would love for a guy like LeBron to help Caitlin Clark understand how to navigate the culture, because he had a ton of pressure put on him and he handled it very well. He's not a guy that gets in trouble off the court, and he has a great family and people look up to him. He does a ton for schools across the country. And I think that Caitlin Clark could learn a lot from a guy like him.
That would be a great example to follow. Maybe she doesn't have the money that LeBron James had that he could just throw around the way that he did.
That's a good point.
Early in his career. I mean, what was her salary? Like $75K, a rookie salary. Now she's making a lot more off the court than she is on the court, right? And so she is going to be just fine financially. So, I mean, hopefully that is an example she could follow. She won't be able to necessarily do things at the same level that LeBron James was able to do. But if she can keep herself grounded and say, hey, guess what? You've made, I'm just making up a number here, $10 million this year, all in total.
Yeah.
All of your endorsements and your salaries and your investments and all that thing, give some of it back. Find ways to humble yourself and help out the community around you. Then she has the ability to stay grounded. And these are franchises, man. They got sports psychologists around them. I do hope that she has LeBron James' phone number and they can chat. I mean, LeBron's got nothing to do right now, right?
No, he's just probably movies. I mean, come on.
When we come back, Cole, we're going to take a look around the sports world, see what's happening in our daily wires. That's next here on The Fan Upstate. Each and every day, we bring you a segment called Our Daily Wires. That's the buzz happening in sports right now. Baltimore defeated Atlanta 4-2 last night, and the Braves are now 35-30 on the season. Good news for Braves fans is, as of right now, fingers crossed, Atlanta's up 6-3.
You're going to jinx them.
In the bottom of the ninth.
It doesn't matter. You're going to jinx them.
Of 6-3, bottom of the ninth, Baltimore has a runner on first.
Jeez.
With, it's hard to, Kauscher?
Yeah, those letters
it's
are
hard
just
to read.
crunched together.
Yeah.
And my eyesight's no good.
What is going on? Can somebody please explain to me the Bally Network and Fox Sports before that? Why, if you watch it on standard definition, is it like a third the size of the screen? Like, come on, it's 2024. Get this thing figured out.
Makes it
What's
worse
happening?
on me, too.
It's unbelievable. Cole, Boston went up 3-0 last night in the NBA Finals. They defeated Dallas 106-99. One of the big events of the night was Luka Doncic fouling out with about 4 minutes to go in that game. He definitely fouled the guy.
Yeah.
He definitely fouled him. Brian Windhorst here has some opinions on what he saw.
This is phenomenal, by the way. This audio from Brian Windhorst, like, respect to him on Luka.
Yeah, I thought it was perfect that Luka fell onto the ground there in an unacceptable position to put himself in with 4 minutes left with 5 fouls, and then immediately looks at the bench and says, "You better bleeping challenge it," as if it's the bench's fault that he just made a terrible play. I'm standing here in the Mavericks tunnel. Over there is the Celtics tunnel. That's where the winners are. If Luka's ever going to be a winner coming out of this tunnel here, he is going to have to use what's happened in this finals as a learning experience. His defensive performance is unacceptable. He is a hole on the court. The Celtics are attacking him. They are ahead in this series because they've attacked him defensively. He is costing his team because of how he treats the officials. He's a brilliant player. He does so many things well. They are here because of how he did. His performance in this game is unacceptable, and the reason why the Mavericks are not going to win. And that's where the Mavericks are at this point. They're never going to get to this tunnel with the trophy if he doesn't improve those aspects of his game.
Bam!
If I am Jason Kidd, I am playing that audio in a loop in Luka Doncic's locker.
That is phenomenal. Like, I love Brian
Ripped him
Windhorst.
to shreds.
He should, though.
Get that man a needle and thread because he just got cut.
That's fantastic audio.
I mean, Brian Windhorst.
But is he wrong,
dimes.
you know?
No, he's not wrong.
He's not wrong. He's right.
He's a defensive liability. He's, you know, I don't want to hear anything from these people who are like, you can't call that in the finals. Yeah, you can. A foul is a foul, whether it happens in game 1 or whether it happens in game 75. It doesn't matter. A foul is a foul. Tonight at 8 o'clock, Cole, is puck drop for game 3 of the NHL finals. The Panthers versus the Oilers. Do we know if Kate the Flasher is going to be at this game or not? That'd be nice if she was. Give people a lot of reasons to watch. Florida leads the series 2-0. The Oilers need every bit of help they can get in this series.
Sure do.
Isn't it weird watching teams from the South out of markets that you wouldn't expect be really, really good in the NHL? Yeah, Nashville was there. The Hurricanes were there a couple of years back. The Florida Panthers are there. Just imagine if we had an NHL team in Greenville.
I guess it just goes to show that, like, just because they're regionally based doesn't mean the players are from there, right?
No, of course not. But what I'm saying, Cole, is you got a lot of franchises in the South that have found something. I don't know what it is. I mean,
good draft.
The Tampa Bay Lightning were really good. The Predators were really good. The Hurricanes have been really good. I just want that for Greenville, but y'all don't want that, and I understand it. I'm in the minority here. The Lakers have a formal interview this weekend with J.J. Redick. Cole, why do they need to even have an interview with JJ? If he was the front runner before and the guy that they wanted turned him down for a lot of money and free chicken wings and free kielbasa's, why even bother having the interview with JJ? Just hire the guy. You know him.
It does seem like it's trending toward that, but I guess this is more of like money talks, right? Like, what do we need to pay you? What's it going to take? Because I think it's going to happen. I really do. Now that Dan Hurley's out of the equation, I think J.J. Redick's your next Lakers coach.
Game 4 between Boston and Dallas is Friday night. You pulled some audio here of Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, he's fired up and ready to shoot his guns.
This is a metaphor here, so just be ready. Just go home, get the ammo ready, get the bazooka, get the 50 cal ready, get everything ready because it's when we come into game 4, we know that we got to shoot our gun, we got to shoot our shots, and we got to do it with an aggression.
Well, that's quite a metaphor there, Kyrie.
I appreciate
50 cal.
I mean, Kyrie, obviously, he had his issues a couple of years ago with believing that people were taking things he was saying out of context. So it's funny that he has to rub everybody's nose in it and say, now, guys, I'm just kidding here. I'm just kidding.
It's a metaphor.
I don't actually mean this. Don't throw me in social media jail.
Hey, by the way, the tying run for Baltimore is at the plate.
Oh, no.
But there are 2 outs.
Have I jinxed it? Have I jinxed this situation?
TBD.
Oof.
TBD.
Yeah. Iglesias is on the mound. Runners on first and second. 2 outs. The tying run is at the plate. Oof.
I do have some U.S. Open standings. Patrick Cantley, the American, is leading right now in the top 5. You also have names like Aberg and Rory McIlroy in the top 5. Yeah, so still early, but Rory's playing well. Hey,
he's not divorced.
He's not divorced. Everything's good.
Yeah.
Tiger played really well this morning. So some interesting golf going on. Here is some audio of Scotty Scheffler when a reporter asked him about the video that we talked about yesterday of the Escalade coming into the golf course with a what attached? That's right, a security officer.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of hard not to laugh at the guy, who did that. But I didn't see any videos. Xander did tell me about it yesterday. He got a pretty good kick out of it. But yeah, I think that's part of just having good friends. If all they did was make fun of me, it'd be a bit different. It wouldn't be as fun. But they're great guys and they're great friends, and so you got to be able to look in the mirror and laugh.
Dude, that's great. That is so great for golf. I mean, keeping that thing, guys, one of the biggest stories in sports, let alone golf. To troll that officer, to keep it going, to troll Scotty a little bit with that situation. That's hilarious, man.
It is.
I know we're kind of turning golf a little bit into Happy Gilmore, but that's fine. Golf needs it, right?
But guess what people
golf
watch?
Needs stars.
Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, I love that movie. And they are remaking it, right? Or not remaking it, but they're doing a sequel to it. And that scares me. That really scares me. I hate sequels when they're 10, 20, 25 years after the original. It's not going to stand up to the original, but then again, Adam Sandler has shown that he can make a good movie every now and again.
He can.
Yeah, Uncut Gems. What was the other basketball movie he did?
Was it not Baller, was it? Why am I thinking? No, we talked about it the other day. I already forgot.
The basketball movie where he went to France or whatever and found or Hustle. Yeah, great movie.
Baller.
Yeah, I think Adam Sandler, when he wants to, he can really make a quality movie.
Hustle. We talked about it the other day, man. Like, I hadn't watched it in a while. I think I only watched it one time, but that's an underrated sports movie. If you hadn't seen it, you need to watch it.
Dan Hurley said today, Cole, that his decision to reject the LA Lakers offer, which was 6 years, $70 million, was, quote, not a leverage play to get more money out of UConn. He said, I already signed my deal. I'm good. He's like, there's some things about it that I don't love. I would like to have a bigger assistant pool of money. I would like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But he goes, man, I'm not trying to leverage more money out of UConn. He said, quote, the idea that this was some conspiracy to get me a sweeter deal at UConn is just lazy.
You buy that?
Yeah, I do.
I think I do. Keyword.
And I'm proud of Dan for putting that out into the world,
Yeah.
Lastly, Cole, here, the NFL has ruled that the Falcons did in fact have improper contact with Kirk Cousins, Darnell Mooney, and Charlie Werner ahead of this past NFL league season. Their penalty is that they will lose a 2025 fifth-round pick and pay a $250,000 fine.
That's tough. How will they recover from that?
Dear
we
God,
will rebuild stronger.
NFL really, that's your response to roster tampering 3 times? Is a fifth-round pick next year?
Oh, boy.
And a $250,000 fine.
They will rebuild. Don't you worry.
The devastation.
All right, I've got it pulled up. We are 2 minutes away from the live South Carolina Baseball News Conference where we will hear from Paul Maneri. For the first time, you will hear it live on Wire to Wire. Athletics Director Ray Tanner will be holding a news conference momentarily to introduce the new baseball coach of the South Carolina Gamecocks, Paul Maneri. Gamecock fans, I think, are starting Diesel to warm up to this hire. I really do. I think they're starting to come around, man.
Well, you got no choice.
Well, that's true.
I think they love their baseball program more than they love anybody who may be the head coach of that program. And I don't see anybody coming in and just being that beloved guy immediately. You know?
Yeah, and by the way, we're waiting on the presser to start. We will have the live audio, the first words from Paul Maneri. We'll have that live for you right here on the Fan Upstate. But while we stall, while we wait for them to begin the press conference, you're right, they have no choice. They do love baseball. They have very high expectations, as they should. I just do think, to play the other side, Diesel, to play devil's advocate, you know, I really do think sometimes South Carolina fans expect to be better than they should be. Like, World Series or bust every year. Yeah, it's the team's goal, but that's just not realistic.
Well, not in the modern SEC, where things have gotten infinitely tougher. I mean, the SEC's always been a difficult conference. I'm not saying it hasn't, but a lot of teams have come up, right? They've gotten better across the board, and part of that is because you've had all the success in football. And guess what? Now it's an exciting place to be. To go to Alabama, it's an exciting place to be. To go to Tennessee, you know, rising tide raises all ships. You saw it first. Well, you saw it happening, I think, with baseball first, and then it's happening with basketball right now. The SEC is becoming a premier basketball conference as well, which is a shock because it never was before.
No, it wasn't. You know, what's interesting about the hire is, like, South Carolina fans, they do have to give him time. Now, I don't mean like a ton of time, because he is 66, 67, but
they're like, we gave him 10 minutes. Why have you not won us a championship
that's
yet?
True. But, Diesel, no one really knew that Lamont Paris would have success as early as he has. And you know what?
Yeah. A lot of big question marks around that hire.
There were. We live in a world in college athletics that I think that some of us still have to wrap our mind around. It is really, really easy to be successful quicker. Don't hear me say it's easier to be successful. It's easier to be successful quicker with the portal, with NIL. You don't have to build an entire recruiting class.
What's Shane Beamer's excuse?
Well, he plays in the SEC. That's his excuse. I mean, if you want me to tell you what
he's got to move from the bottom to the top.
He does.
In the or from the middle to the top.
But my point is, look, it's easy. It's easy. And it's easy to adapt, and you have to have a coaching staff in place to do that. And Steve Fink is at the podium, so let's hear this thing. So we're going to hear from Ray Tanner first. Steve Fink right now, the SID, is pretty much just letting everyone know who is there, what will take place, how it'll be. Remember, they did have, this might be their third press conference. I know they have golf hire, softball yesterday.
Third in 2 days, third in 3 days.
With Ashley Chastain, who was named the new softball coach. And we don't hear from him much, but here's Ray Tanner.
Good move. Introducing the wife first.
Southern gentleman, right?
What a schmoozer.
Come on. Quit hitting on his wife. Wow.
LSU for 15 seasons. 11 of the 14 full seasons, remember we had. He won 11 of 14 years. He won at least one championship. That would be either the regular season, the tournament championship, a regional championship, a super regional championship, or a College World Series national championship. His players have earned first-team All-American recognition on 13 occasions, and he has 25 former players that have been in the big leagues. His coaching stints have been at St. Thomas University, Air Force, Notre Dame, and as I mentioned, LSU. He's won 70% of all the games that he's coached. That's the fourth highest winning percentage in SEC history, trailing only the legendary Skip Bertman, the young Tony Vitello from Tennessee, and another guy that you've forgotten already.
You know, I'm
talking about himself there.
Yeah, probably so. I'm going to pull his audio for a second while he continues to give the resume before he brings up Paul Diesel. A couple of things real quick that stick out from what Ray Tanner has said already. I think that Ray Tanner feels like he made the home run hire because you heard
grinning like a Cheshire cat.
And he said there's nobody active in college baseball that has more wins than Paul Mainieri. And to Ray Tanner, I really do feel like that's a big deal, right? He's a baseball guy. I think Ray Tanner feels like we've gotten the guy. He was. Yeah. It's a fascinating hire, man.
If Paul Mainieri is 60 years old, not 66 years old, I'm saying to myself, this is the best possible hire we could have made.
Sure.
Regardless, he is an amazing hire.
Yeah.
I think at 66, he'll be 67 before he coaches his first game in South Carolina. I think at 67 years old, he's going to be very good.
Yeah.
For a very short period of time. And hey, maybe Ray Tanner is looking at this like, man, I just hit a home run on a coach who can right this ship and get us back in the right direction. You know, maybe you look at it as a ground rule double. It's over the wall. But it's not quite a home run.
And you know what? South Carolina fans, Diesel, I believe they should hope. This is an obvious statement, but they should hope that Paul Mainieri's sharp in the mind, that he stays sharp in the mind, that he doesn't have any health issues. Because this guy, if he could give you, let's say, best case, if he could give you 8 years, that'd be phenomenal. That's a stretch.
Yeah.
But right now he's a year younger than Brian Snitker of the Braves. Brian Snitker seems to have it still. You know, Snitker looks older than Paul Mainieri, but they're close to the same age.
A lot more stress in his life.
A lot more. Lou Holtz was old. Steve Spurrier was getting there, right? I believe Spurrier was 60 when South Carolina. I think that's right.
Yeah, but you can mention all ththose guys, and I can just say Joe Paterno, a guy that, you know, wasn't there anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's Paul Mainieri. I'm just saying, you know, cognitive decline happens quickly at that age.
It does. And you know,
look at our political landscape. There's cognitive decline all over.
There is. It's a good point. I hope it doesn't happen. I want to see. I really, really want to see Paul Mainieri and Monty Lee and staff get this baseball program to where it needs to be. Because Diesel, can you imagine how much fun it would be to have, number one, us do radio while this is happening, but number two, Carolina and Clemson both for the first time, I think, since 2011, back in Omaha. I mean, both teams, that'd be fantastic.
I'm just giddy at the prospect.
Yeah, I am too. That'd be fantastic. And
we'll
Clemson's
go do
got
Jello
their
shots
guy.
with Chris Phillips.
Yeah, he would be there. No doubt. There's no doubt. We'll have to work that out. So Ray Tanner, you know, even though, like, it's funny, I was talking to somebody last night at dinner, Diesel, who's a pretty big South Carolina fan. And he was talking about Ray Tanner, and there's a lot of frustrations right now with South Carolina fans and Ray Tanner. But I do believe we're fixing to have Paul Mainieri at the podium. They're holding the jersey. Oh, that's a pretty cool scene. I'll have to screenshot that. But Ray and Paul are holding a South Carolina jersey that says Paul Mainieri, or Mainieri on the back. Number 10. That's awesome. So now we will hear from Paul Maneri for the very first time as South Carolina's baseball coach.
Well, let me make one quick correction to that introduction. All those wins that he was talking about, I didn't win any of them. The players won them all. Let's make sure that we understand that
Said
very
the right
clearly.
thing.
A week ago, I couldn't have imagined standing here at this podium and talking to you all about coaching the Carolina Gamecocks. But we never know what life will throw you. And Ray has been a friend for a lot of years. And when he called me, of course, we had a nice conversation. And he's still got the recruiting ability, I can promise you. But let me say this, okay? I was born to coach. And I've coached over 2,300 games. I grew up the son of a coach. It's all I ever wanted to do. When I was 14 years old, I went to my father and I said, Pop, I know what I want to do with the rest of my life. I want to be a college baseball coach like you. So he was a great mentor for me, besides a wonderful father, about the profession. And what he explained to me and what I've carried with me in my entire coaching career was that it's not about me. It's not about prestige. It's not about publicity. It's not about making money. It's not about even winning games and the love of the game. It's all about the players. They don't create baseball programs so that I can have a place to work or Ray Tanner can have a place to work. They have them on college campuses so that gifted baseball players will have a place to develop their talents to their fullest potential and learn lessons that will later on go into that they will later on use in their lives so that they can become successful husbands, fathers, and in whatever career fields in which they choose to partake. So this has been my vision about what my profession is about. It's always about the development of the young person. Now, if we do a good enough job recruiting talent and we coach them the right way on the field and we have that attitude about helping them develop, I just feel that the winning will take care of itself. And make no mistake about it, I like to win, and I make no apologies for that. In fact, I really hate to lose more than I like to win. But we'll always do it within the rules. We'll always do it with good sportsmanship. This is something I will demand from our players. And we will always do it with our players presenting themselves and conducting themselves in a way that will make the University of South Carolina very proud. I can promise you that. This is an exciting time for me. And, being in the Midlands is a lot better than being upstate. I know that. And I'm looking forward to being here with everybody. I myself would like to thank Thad Westbrook from the Board of Trustees, how he got involved and made this all happen, not only for me, but for our entire staff. And of course, President Emeritus, who I'm looking forward to meet in the future. But make no mistake about it, the reason that I came here is because of Ray Tanner. And I mean this very sincerely. What an awesome opportunity for a college baseball coach to have as his boss a good friend, one of the greatest coaches in the history of the game, and a tremendous administrator. And so the way I look at this opportunity is just like that. It's an opportunity. It's a privilege. It's not anything I will ever take for granted. And I appreciate the confidence that Ray has shown in me to make me the coach here at Carolina. I've had the opportunity prior to this to work at 4 wonderful institutions. I started at a small school in Miami, which was my hometown, St. Thomas University. Nobody really even knew we had a baseball program. So all I did was work with the players and enjoy that part of it, the development of the players. After 6 years there, I had this unbelievable opportunity to become the first civilian baseball coach at the United States Air Force Academy. I'm proud to tell you and stand in front of you that 5 of my former players are general officers in the Air Force. And that's something I'm extremely proud about. My uncle served as a bombardier in World War II. My father served in the Army. And when you're around the cadets at the Air Force Academy and around people that have served in our military, I can't tell you how much that makes you feel privileged to have opportunities to go out onto the baseball field and play a game that we love because of those people. So my time at the Air Force Academy was something that I will always cherish. And then I was perfectly happy there. Our family was growing. We were enjoying ourselves. And 6 years later, out of the clear blue, I got a call.
While he's taking this trip down memory lane, I got to get the reaction from the Tolos.
Whoa.
Woo, he's saying a lot of the right things, and I would be shocked, Cole, if there's nobody with a tiger paw on their polo shirt right now listening to this audio, getting a laugh out of what he had to say. Quote, being in the Midlands is a lot better than being upstate.
I've already put that on our socials. That was amazing. It was shocking, but when he said that, you and I looked at each other like, did he just say that?
He did.
And
he did.
His opening statement, he's already taken shots at Clemson.
I love it because his entire the first part of that, Cole, saying, quote, I didn't win those 1,500 games. The players won them. Saying things like, I was born to be a coach. It's all I've ever wanted to do. Saying things like, it's not about me, prestige, publicity, making money or winning games. It's all about the players. They don't create programs so I can have a place to work.
Gosh,
I mean, check.
He is.
He's saying
the right things, man.
Yeah, he is.
Listen, the first 10 minutes, I've liked what I've heard, and South Carolina fans should also like what they've heard in the first 10 minutes. We do have to hit a break. I'm going to give you just a couple of more minutes. I will try to push it as long as I can, but we're going to give you just a few more moments of what Paul has to say.
And what a molder of men he was, and the influence he had on so many people. And he's a hell of a recruiter as well. So when I came down to visit with him, we sat down and talked for an hour. I said, Skip, look, I have a great job. I don't need this job. And we need to decide if this is the right thing for you and if it's the right thing for me. Well, we talked all day, and I slept on it that night, and I took the job. The next day, Karen and I talked about it the night before, and she asked me, what do you want to do? And I said, I think I want to take the job. And she said, why? And I said, because if I don't do it, I'm going to regret it for the rest of my life. And I don't want to go through the rest of my life regretting anything. I may crash and burn, but at least I'm going to take my swings. When these players are here, they're going to hear me say this an awful lot of times. In the biggest games of the year, the most pressure on you, you cannot be afraid to fail. You've got to believe in yourself, and you've got to go out there and make it happen. You need to attack. Well, I started thinking maybe I ought to listen to that advice that I gave my players through all those years, and I ought to take this jump of faith and let's go for it. Well,
wow, that's deep, man. He's saying the right things. I mean, that's a good quote. That's a good line. And
Spur Daddy's gonna have to change his Instagram handle. He's gonna have to change his handle again.
Maneri Daddy.
Yeah, Maneri Daddy.
Paul Daddy. What can it be?
Paul is my Maneri man.
Yeah. So look, he's saying the right things. This press conference will probably go on for close to an hour, I would imagine, because
a lot of Q&A.
There will be questions, but we do want to go to Omaha in the very next segment. What do I mean by that? Well, we're going to be joined by Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. He is in Omaha as we speak, covering the tournament this weekend with the 8 college baseball teams, and we'll get you the best coverage of any reporter in Omaha. Boots on the ground next.
He sent me a text message.
Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson, joined now by Boots on the ground in Omaha for, well, at least the last hour and a half, 2 hours or so. Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered has made his way to Omaha, Nebraska. Chris, I just want to know, man, are you a sightseer? Have you carved out time in your schedule to go explore Omaha? I mean, there's botanical gardens, there's museums, and, oh, yeah, a massive baseball tournament going on. What are you going to do over the next couple of days?
Diesel, Cole, first things first, appreciate you having me on. And when you say boots on the ground, my boots currently at this very moment are in the dirt at Charles Schwab Field in Omaha. So I'm standing on the field currently talking to you all. I'm so happy I could cry right now, boys. I got to be totally honest. I've really just been wandering around the stadium thus far. It's still pretty early in the day. Definitely going to sightsee around the stadium. They've got Fan Fest going on. They've also got the site of the old Rosenblatt, where it's got a lot of cool history over there. And, I'm sure we'll get out and about, to explore the city. But obviously, guys, the baseball gets going tomorrow, and that's what we're here for, and that's what I'm excited to watch. And so, yeah, we're going to do a little bit of sightseeing, but definitely, I mean, listen, the stadium itself is a sight. I mean, not often, obviously we all love college baseball, but not often do you see a 25,000 seat stadium to take in. So it's awesome, guys. Again, we're here. Teams are practicing. Kentucky currently on the field. We've still got Florida to go. We've still got some others as well. So it's awesome, man. The most hallowed ground in college baseball. I'm just happy to be here.
Chris, before we get into this weekend's games, your thoughts on a game you and I were both at now that you've had a little time to sleep on it with what we saw Clemson, Florida for the second year in a row, Clemson losing to an SEC team in a gut-wrenching way.
Yeah, I mean, what a series, Cole. Again, you and I able to link up out there. But I will say first things first, that Sunday game, probably the most electric college baseball game I've ever seen in person. The only shame of that game was that the umpires had to play such a big role and couldn't get out of their own way. But, listen, man, Florida's on a heater, right? I think Clemson's a really good team. Obviously, they were really good this year. They were hosting in the Super for a reason. I mentioned this on social media. I'm a huge fan of Eric Bakich. I thought the way he went to battle for his team was admirable, fought for his players. But, guys, I think Clemson just ran into a buzzsaw. I mean, really, truly. I mean, it's one of those things where, teams get to the postseason and they get hot. I know the Clemson faithful, I heard a couple next to me, they weren't too thrilled that Florida got into the tournament. But, we knew they were capable, guys. And I think really what it just highlights is how much Florida underachieved during the regular season. But, I mean, Cole, I know you would agree, man. That was one of the best baseball games you'll ever see. We had everything, right? I mean, we had a pitcher get checked for sticky stuff. We had Jack Caglione hit a home run over the batter's eye. We had a scuffle down the first base line. I mean, we had walk-offs. We had crazy catches, like everything you could think of. So just a great college baseball game and a great series. And, again, Florida's just on a heater right now, so we'll see if they can keep it up in Omaha.
Chris, are you legally allowed to say that you really like Eric Bakich as an SEC guy? I mean, I don't know if you heard the audio, read the interview earlier today. I think it was released. Eric Bakich basically said, yeah, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to get that crowd fired up again. I'm not backing down at all from confrontations like that. I mean, yeah, you got to love a coach like that. And I want to segue that to the news that broke yesterday. Paul Mainieri, now the official head coach at South Carolina. Who would you rather have if it was your program? And kind of go back 2 years. Imagine yourself going back 2 years when Eric Bakich was first hired out of Michigan. Good coach at Michigan, not elite by a lot of standards, wasn't winning national championships, wasn't taking his team to Omaha. So who would you rather have leading your program? A younger guy who's a fiery guy, or kind of the old hat, the guy that's been around the block a time or two and probably has forgotten more baseball than a lot of us will ever know.
Yeah, Diesel, to your point, by the way, about Eric Bakich, thankfully now I can legally say whatever I want. I'm not any under contractual obligations or anything. But no, listen, if you gave any fan, I think in college baseball, true serum, and yes, I'm talking to South Carolina fan, it's the same thing with Tony Vitello, right? If he's on your side, you love him, and if he's not, you hate him. And I think Eric Bakich, when you see those actions on the field, it's very easy to pick them apart and make fun and say this and that, but no fan out there wouldn't love if their coach was going to battle for their guys. So let's be honest about that. In regards to Paul Neri hire, guys, I didn't know there was a hire they could make that would leave me speechless in the immediate. And that's how I felt, honestly, because it's one of those things, guys, like you mentioned, that all of a sudden South Carolina now has the active winningest coach in college baseball. I mean, the resume speaks for itself, guys. Over 1,500 wins, a national championship, 6 College World Series. I mean, again, like you mentioned, Paul Neri has crapped out more baseball than a lot of us will ever know, obviously. So, it's a great question about which direction would I have gone, guys. I probably would go with the younger guy, personally. I mean, I don't think Maneri's a bad hire. I think some are questioning it. I understand. Listen, I think it's a shot in the arm for a program that needs a shot in the arm. I think it is. I'm not going to call it a desperation move, obviously, but I think it is a move to say, hey, we need to get back to winning now. Like, we're not making this a 3 or 4 year rebuild or, I think South Carolina understands that the program has been struggling. It's been over a decade since they've been to Omaha. Guys, we've talked a lot about this, how important the next hire is because, 2010 and 11 are only getting further and further away. And if you're not careful, we're going to get 3 or 4 more years down the road. South Carolina won't come back to Omaha. And then we're no longer thinking of them as an elite program, right? So you got to get back to that sooner rather than later. I think Maneri is a guy that can do that. I think the staff he assembles around him is really, really important. And I think they got off to a good start with that with Monty Lee and Terry Rooney, 2 of the best in the business, I think. So South Carolina, give them credit. They put their money where their mouth is and, paid him $1.3 million and they made Monty Lee the highest paid assistant. So, I think it's a high quality hire. The baseball IQ is there with Maneri. Get the right assistants in place. And, I think South Carolina could become a big-time player again in the SEC.
Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Chris, in your opinion of the teams in Omaha, which of those 8 do you like the most, and why is it Tennessee?
That's a great question. Hey, Cole, it's honestly, we were sitting there taking picks for our bracket. It's so difficult because this field is as deep as it's been in so long. I think 2013 was the last time we had 7 of the top 16 national seeds. And the 8th team this year is the Florida Gators, who's got as much talent as anybody in the field. Before the Braden Montgomery injury, guys, I would have said Texas A&M. They probably would have been my pick to win it all. I like Tennessee a lot. We'll see if the whole curse of the number 1 seed thing plays out. I don't think Tennessee's really going to let that affect them. So I do like Tennessee a lot. Guys, from the ACC, I like North Carolina. I think North Carolina is as complete as any. Just top to bottom. They got one of the best players in college baseball in Vance Honeycutt. So I could see them at minimum being in the finals, and I think they will be actually. I think they'll take down Tennessee. It's hard, guys, to pick the number 1 overall seed when it hasn't happened in 25 years. It just is, So I'm going North Carolina in that top bracket. In that bottom bracket, I tell you, listen, the Florida Gators, y'all let them in the club. And now they're on the table popping bottles, ordering tequila shots for everybody. I mean, they're going crazy. You should not have let them in the party is all I'm saying. So if Florida can beat Texas A&M Saturday night, guys, Kentucky, NC State are the other 2 in that bracket besides Texas A&M, who they play in the first game. I like Florida in both those matchups, guys. So I would not be surprised to see the Gators make a run. But, again, it's so tough to pick, guys. And then, again, Kentucky, NC State, their brand of baseball, can it last here in Omaha? I think it can. So I know that's kind of a roundabout answer, but North Carolina, Tennessee, and I say Florida are probably my top 3 that I feel the best about.
Chris Phillips, SEC Unfiltered, joins us here on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. A little correction to what I said earlier. Eric Bakich did take Michigan to Omaha in 2019, College World Series runners up that year. Chris, who are you looking at as the most dangerous hitter this cycle in Omaha? You got Honeycutt out of UNC, who you mentioned, Tibbs out of Florida State, Moore from Tennessee, Jack Caglione, of course, he's electric as well. Who's going to have the most pop? If people are fans of offensive baseball, who do they need to look out for?
It's hard not to say Jack Caglione right now, guys. I mean, the way he's swinging it. Listen, the only reason, Diesel, he may not be the answer, our team's going to pitch to him. I mean, again, we were there in Clemson, and it got to a point where we're like, why are you still pitching to Jack Caglione? I mean, we saw it in the first inning or the second inning or whatever it was of that Sunday game where he literally hits one over the batter's eye. And what's crazy, Diesel, if you watch that series, Jack Caglione, the home runs he was hitting, it's like he wasn't even catching them all the way. You know, it wasn't like it was his best swing, and they're still leaving the yard. Granted, Clemson is a small ballpark. This is much bigger. I mean, we got 335 down the line, 375 in the gaps, and 408 to dead center. So this is a pretty sizable, pretty big ballpark. You know, I like Cags. Christian Moore is definitely one, like you mentioned. I think maybe the most well-rounded here in this tournament. So I'll kind of go off the script. Jack Caglione is so easy to say. I'll go Christian Moore. I think SEMO, he's been one of the best players in the country this year. Maybe not as talked about as he should be because of Cags and Condon existing in college baseball this year. But I'll go Christian Moore, man. He's so much fun to watch. Going to be a first-rounder, no doubt. And I think he's going to have a really big tournament.
Chris, Clemson or South Carolina? Which team will make it back to the Omaha series first, in your opinion?
It's a great question, Cole. I mean, I got to go Clemson right now. I'm going to go Clemson. I mean, they were 2 games away this year, and I think that Clemson baseball is not going away anytime soon again. And I'm not saying that South Carolina – I'll put it to you this way. It has been, 12 years for South Carolina? It has been 14 years for Clemson. It's not going to be another 12 or 14 years, guys. Somebody, I think, within the next 3 to 4 years is going to get there. Again, I do believe, guys, and I mentioned this earlier in the week, I think Paul Maneri can get South Carolina back to Omaha. I mean, again, you look at his track record, you look at his resume. Guys, even with Mark Kingston as head coach, who I label as incompetent, I mean, it's not like South Carolina was that far off, right? A couple of times, they were only a game or 2 away from getting there. So now you got a guy that knows the game. He's going to put the right assistants in place. You know, I think South Carolina is more than capable of making it in the next 2 to 3 years. And then again, guys, Clemson with Eric Bakich, I mean, this year had a great opportunity on the home field and couldn't get it done. And, you know, I know people will say it's been 14 years. They just can't figure it out in the postseason. But I think Bakich is going to have Clemson right back in that situation. I wouldn't be surprised if it's as soon as next year, maybe you see Clemson make it. So, I mean, I was surprised they didn't make it this year, honestly. So I'll say Clemson, but I think within the next 5 years, guys, I think both South Carolina and Clemson will make an Omaha appearance.
Chris, you can't go to New Orleans without getting a beignet. You can't go to Omaha without getting a Jell-O shot at Rocco's. My question is, are you going to spread your Jell-O shot money out among the SEC teams and flavors, or are you going to stick to one?
Diesel, that is the best question, I think, of this interview, and the best question. That's like the question of the weekend, I think, for myself, for SEC Unfiltered, because I was asking some other folks, do I buy one Jell-O shot and tell the folks, hey, you know, just mark one next to all the SEC teams. I don't want to just show bias to one. Or buy 4 Jell-O shots to count for each team. You got to go with 4, man. I mean, come on. We're not going to try to cheat Rocco's here. Or 8. Yeah, you can't cheat the system, right? So, I mean, yeah, we're going to make sure the SEC is well represented. We're going to have some fun in the process. So, yeah, it's we're going to be loading up on some Jell-O shots. And like you said, you can't come to Omaha without getting the Drover steak. We're going to get some steak as well. So I'm going to make sure to see the sights and, you know, really get the full Omaha experience.
Chris, my last question for you. Of the 8 teams, if I told you this team, no good, they don't deserve to be there, they're going to get booted. Of the 8, if you had a power rank 1 through 8, which one of those 8 would you say, in your opinion, has the least chance to win it all?
Oh, that's a good question because, again, the field is so loaded, Cole, and this little segment right here has got the potential to blow up my face, but that's never scared me off before. So the team that I feel least confident about, I will go with I'm going to go with NC State. They're standing right behind me, so I didn't want to say that too loud. But, no, I'm going to go the NC State Wolfpack. I know they've been able to scrap out games. I like Kentucky over them. I know actually in our show early in the week I picked NC State to win, but I'm changing my mind here on the air. I'm going to go with Kentucky to beat them. I think NC State goes 2-2. If I'm going to pick somebody to go 2-2, I think it is going to be NC State. Again, I think they're facing a really tough Kentucky team in that first game, and whether they get Texas A&M or Florida, it's going to be really, really difficult to stay alive. So I think NC State's path to 0-2, guys, I will say, they have the most clear path to 0-2, which isn't a path you want to have a clear path to for sure.
Chris, help us out. What's the best place for our wire-to-wire Tolos to go to get your SEC Unfiltered coverage from Omaha?
Yeah, Diesel, I appreciate that. I mean, all across social media, X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, also YouTube, podcasts. We're doing stuff in there. We'll actually have reaction videos and following each and every single game from myself, Dave Shoemate, Cole Thompson, our entire SEC Unfiltered team here. Those are going to be published on YouTube podcast. And actually today I'll be live from Omaha on Texas Sports Unfiltered, hanging out, just kind of wandering around and documenting my journey from 3 to 4 Central, 4 to 5 Eastern. So everywhere you normally find us, Diesel, that's where you can find all the coverage, and there will be plenty of it for sure. So again, guys, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity, man. It's really a dream come true, first time for me, and to have boots on the ground, the most hallowed ground in college baseball is something special for sure.
Chris, great stuff as always, man. We appreciate you taking time to join us today, man.
Yeah, Cole Diesel, y'all Western, man. Appreciate it.
That is Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. We will talk about the NCAA tournament and tomorrow, but we appreciate Chris hopping on with us today.
Man, I'm jealous. I don't know that I've ever been as jealous of anybody saying, but it's the toes in the dirt, man. It's being on the field in Omaha, covering it. You can go as a fan, right? And you can sit in the stands, and that's great. But fans don't get to put their toes on the base paths.
Yeah.
And that's just next level, man. And I'm happy for Chris that he's there. When we come back, Cole, we're going to react to the audio that we heard to start this 4 o'clock hour, the press conference with Paul Mainieri, new head coach at South Carolina for the baseball program. We're going to react to that on the other side right here on the Fan Upstate.
Unfiltered Sports Insanity on Wire to Wire with Cole Bryce.
You heard from Paul Mainieri. You've heard from Chris Phillips. If this show doesn't keep you up to date enough, I do not know what to tell you. I mean, come on. What else do you need, people? By the way, Paul Mainieri, Diesel, we've reacted to a little bit. We'll continue to react. He is still speaking. We might give a little sneak peek before we go to our next break of Paul. But, man, Diesel, I love what he said. The very first thing, before he took a shot at Clemson, I tweeted it out on X at the Cole Bryson, or X'd it out, whatever you say now. It's not about me. It's not about prestige or publicity. It's not about the money. It's all about the players. They don't create baseball programs so that I can have a place to work. They have them so all the players have a place to develop their talents to the full potential. You said it earlier, man. He's saying all the right things.
Yeah, and look, I take back everything wrong, everything untoward, everything unsupportive that I've said about this hire. I mean, you said it. You're actually watching the video of it. I can't see it over here on my side of the board. But he looks like a young, sprightly guy. At 66 years old, he seems
looks good,
sharp. He looks good. He's energetic. He's saying all the right things. He's cracking jokes. I mean, if you're a South Carolina fan, you got to feel good about this and know that other programs wanted him. And he said, nah, I think I'm going to stay retired. Nah, this is not the right opportunity for me. Nah, I think I'm going to stay where I'm at, living comfortably, cushy on my multi-million-dollar salaries that I've made over the years.
I like this quote as well. All of those wins that Ray, was talking about, I didn't win any of them. My players won all of them. That was his first statement as a Gamecock. That's big. That's coming in strong.
He is going to be a player's coach.
Yeah.
The question is still, is he going to be willing to fly out and meet prospects and do all the things you got to do? I don't know. But, man, like, you tell me that guy couldn't sell you on signing the dotted line and playing for South Carolina?
You know what else was interesting? He said, and again, I'm going to get back to him in a second, but Diesel, he said the main reason I'm here is because of Ray Tanner.
Yeah.
So for as much as flack as Ray Tanner gets, he did get him here.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you're Ray Tanner, this is an easy hire, right? You know this guy. You've coached against this guy. You are in a very small fraternity of SEC baseball coaches and college Division I baseball coaches with this guy. So you know him, you trust him. You can get a sense of what this guy is about because you've been around him for so long, and you feel really good. I think you feel really good, especially when you consider, the addition of Rooney, the addition or keeping Monty Lee on staff. I think you feel like you're set up in the best possible way that you can be, not just now, but in the future. You said it yesterday. Monty Lee didn't have success under his belt when he was under Mark Kingston. So you can't look at him and say, oh, he was Kingston's top assistant.
Sure.
Well, that's great. He's your top assistant,
but
you didn't win you didn't win a lot of games, right? You didn't make it out of regionals. So, I mean, if he sits under Paul Mainieri for 3, 4, 5 years and they find a lot of success and they're winning at a 600, 650, 700 clip, and they make a couple of super regionals, maybe even make Omaha once in Paul Mainieri's tenure.
Sure.
Then all of a sudden, Monty Lee's sitting pretty.
It is.
Feeling real good about where he is right there.
Paul is now answering questions from reporters, and we'll give you another minute or two of that.
Hey, John. You mentioned that, the program's not too far off, but it has been a while since South Carolina was able to compete in the SEC for championships. What do you see in your viewpoint so far in just a short time is kind of the biggest hurdle, biggest barrier to getting there?
Well, I think the league is getting tougher every year. There's a lot of great teams out there. And, let me tell you something. One year I went as a coach, our team went 13-17. We didn't make the SEC tournament. There was only 8 teams that went that year. I think that was 2011. Okay. 2 years later, we went 17-13. We were a national seed, 4-game difference. 36-21 year to 40-16 the next. 4-game difference in conference, 4-game difference overall. Went from not making the tournament to national seed. So the difference is razor thin. You win a few one-run games and you're having a good year. That's the key. You got to win the close ones. And the only way to win the close ones is with clutch hitting, poise on the mound and on defense late in the game, and a belief that you're going to finish the game off. And that's one of the things that, quite frankly, we've been proud about in our career is we've won a lot of close games, and I think it'll make the difference in the season.
So that is the conclusion. It lasted just about 45 minutes. And that was his last quote. I thought that was a good one. He's exactly right, Diesel. He said, look, one time at LSU, we went 12-17, didn't even make the SEC tournament, right? The next year went 17-13, only a 4-game difference, but we're a national seed. He said, we've got to be able to win the close games. Hit the nail on the head, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm going to take a look here down South Carolina's schedule this year, getting into SEC play and figure out Cole, just how many close games did they lose? All right, here's a 1-run loss to Ole Miss.
Yeah.
4-run loss. No, it's a 4-run win. Excuse me. They took a 1-run loss to Alabama. They took, let's see here, a 3-run. Would you call a 3-run loss a close game?
I'd say 3 and 4 is not.
3. Okay, 3 is not. Let's see here. Scrolling down the list here. 2-run game to Florida. That's a close game. 1-run game, lost to Arkansas. 2-run loss to Kentucky. I know this isn't the best.
That's already radio. 6 right there, right?
Yeah, that's
5 or 6?
5. Yeah, that's 5.
So that's
so you're talking about 5 wins right there.
That's 17 SEC wins.
Yeah, if you could turn those 5 around, even win 3 out of those 5, then you're in a good spot. You're in a much, much better spot.
And you know what? To his point, right? Like, that's the difference. You go 12-17, and then 2 years later, you go 17-12, and you're a national seed. He is 100% right. And Tolo Phil on the text line says, I'm fired up. I'm 41, but I'll play for this man. Another texter says, being in the Midlands is better than being in the upstate. Oh, and by the way, I did tweet that out. And as you can imagine, it's gotten people fired up. So he's done what he came here to do, to pump excitement, say the right things, Diesel. And I think South Carolina fans, after hearing him today, as I said a little while ago, they're going to come around to this guy. And you know what? It helps when he says the right things like he just
JD
did.
makes a good point here. He says, under Kingston, we were so inconsistent, losing big and winning big. JD, you're absolutely right there. If you can turn 3 of those 5 close games around, then you're in really good shape. If you can take a handful of the big losses and turn those into close ball games where you have a chance to maybe steal, 2 out of 5 or 1 out of 5 of those, hopefully you're not in games where you're losing big at all, right? But you clearly put yourself into being a national seed position at that point. I like the hire. I'm down with Paul Maneri. I'm done saying bad things about the guy. I'm not done saying bad things about Brad Brownell. He hasn't earned that from me, not yet. Do it another year, Brad, and I'll lay off entirely until you do something else that makes me scratch my head. But I think South Carolina fans, you should feel really excited. You got yourself a good one. On the other side, Cole, it is time for us to do that thing we do each and every day at 5 o'clock. 3 topics, 3 rounds, 3 fights. We disagree about everything. You, the Tolos, decide who wins each round. That's coming up next here on The Fan Upstate. Clemson fans already been out of shape about what Paul Maneri had to say. Where he's
Jeez, man.
Introductory press conference, he said being in the Midlands is a lot better than being upstate. I can tell you that. Cole, you tweeted it.
Yeah, and
on it quick, and Clemson fans not disappointing, man. They are up in their feels. They are whining. They are crying. What are they saying?
Oh, my notifications are going nuts, and I look down, and it's 80% Clemson fans. I'd love an update on this after he sweats through a summer in Columbia. Here's another one. He takes shots, but everybody knows that the Midlands, they're the red-headed stepchild of South Carolina. Everybody wants to be on the coast or in the upstate. The Midlands is just one giant truck stop. Another guy tweets me, Kevin tweets me and says no one ever. This is coming from a guy that lives in the Midlands. They're upset.
That's what I love about you, Gamecock, and you Tiger fans. You are exactly the same.
It's the best.
You are exactly the same. If Eric Bakich had said something like this in his introductory press conference, South Carolina fans would be tweeting the exact same replies to us. Exact same. Cal College, you know.
Yeah, and I did want to get to, real quick before we go to the fight, Diesel, you mentioned it during the break, Coastal Carolina stole a Gamecock. Now he's Chanticleer, right? It is Chance Miller, who is leaving South Carolina. He was the deputy athletics director at South Carolina. He is now the new AD at Coastal. So they'll have a AD and baseball coach.
Congratulations, I guess, to Coastal Carolina. Hopefully you got yourself
a raise, right?
Yeah. Congratulations to him. He got a nice upgrade. Hopefully Coastal Carolina did as well. Each and every day here at 5 o'clock, Cole, you and I duking out. We put up our fists. We throw punches at each other. We call it the 5 o'clock fight. It is the most interacted with segment on this show. You Tolos are fantastic each and every day. Let's hit it.
It's an all-out slugfest, and nobody's leaving unscathed. 3 topics, 1 winner. It's the 5 o'clock fight on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
So here's how this works. We'll go through each topic round by round. You, the Tolos, text in at 71307, starting your text with keyword fan or dropping a comment on one of our live streams, Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. Tell us who wins each round of the 5 o'clock fight. Cole and I have to disagree. The question is, which one of us can present the better arguments? Let's find out right now.
Round 1, fight.
The car of your dreams, Cole. Would you rather build it or buy it?
Well,
so first we have to establish what is the car of your dreams.
So it's the John Wick Mustang. If you have seen John Wick, it's the very first John Wick.
And I've lusted over that car many times.
Gosh, it is a. By the way, just for those that have not seen it, it's a 1969 Ford Mustang Mach 1 high performance version of the standard Mustang. It's known for like the 1960 style V8 engine. That's my car I lust over, man.
For me, it was growing up, years ago watching Gone in 60 Seconds. It was the Nick Cage Gone in 60 Seconds.
Yeah.
It was the 67 Shelby GT 500. Oh, my God.
Pretty.
Oh, my God.
Pretty.
So would you rather buy it or build it?
This is not even a question. I am not one that likes to build things.
No.
If I have to put something together, no, I hate it. I hate putting things together.
No.
So this is easy for me. I'll buy it.
Cole. modern vehicle, I want to do it myself. Like if I know that the vehicle drives correctly, I can do everything else myself.
A couple of texts. The 803 Diesel says, for our request, what we need to ask engineering while they're trying to fix the radio, being off. Texter says from the 803, hey, engineering employee's name, you stole my pen earlier. Could I get that back? That might not turn out well. Texter says, ask them if they know how to do their jobs. Jeez, Texter, you're going for the throat? Going for the throat on this one?
According to Shane Barrett, the stream is now back. How about it?
Wow, the stream is back. Can we confirm, Shane Barrett?
Major technical issue, and they had it fixed in under 10 minutes on multiple stations. How about that?
I like it.
Golf clap indeed.
I can't do a golf clap. Mine are too loud. My claps are never mind.
You got the big old hits. You just start slapping around.
I change the subject, Diesel. Junebug says, clean sweep for Diesel. And we have been notified on the text line that the audio's back on YouTube.
AJ803 says, ask him if they've tried restarting the computer. Hey, you tried turning it off and turning it back on again? Hey, take the cartridge out, blow on it, put it back in.
Y'all, we would get fired so fast because I think our boss is here still too. And he's probably like, making sure engineering's okay and not having a panic attack. So probably wouldn't be suggested.
Oh, we have a texter here, Cole, that's trying to turn me on. He says, I've got a 67 Corvette Stingray 327 small block sitting in the garage, needs the brake lines reworked. What are you waiting on, texter?
67 Corvette. I'm going to copy that text and put it into my search bar because I know obviously what a Corvette looks like, but let's see what that one looks like, Diesel. Oh, convertible? Soft top, hard top texture. Looks like a soft top. That's a nice car, man.
That's a beautiful car.
That's a nice car. That is nice. All right.
When Red on that 70s show had a 60s Corvette?
Not a big what show did you say? That 70s show?
That 70s show, yeah.
No, didn't watch it a ton. Bullwinkle asked, who you guys have for the U.S. Open on Sunday holding the trophy? It's a good question, Bullwinkle. It's hard not to go Spieth, but the way he's playing, I mean, surely he's not going to win again, right?
Scotty, you mean?
I say
you said Jordan Spieth.
Oh, screw him. He's not going to win. Scheffler is what I meant to say. I'm giving Spieth credit all of a sudden.
I think Scheffler's clearly an odds-on favorite, Cole, but I really do think that Rory McIlroy, reconciling with his wife, that's going to help him out a lot.
Rory's playing good golf. Like there's a good chance he's in the mix. Back to sports.
I want to meet more. I want to meet Rory just to see how small he actually is in person. Because we met that German golfer on.
You mean skinny small?
Yeah,
he's skinny.
Like on Friday, we interviewed that German golfer. Don't remember his name off the top of my head. He was a little guy, really little guy.
We interviewed a golfer.
We did.
Thursday,
Friday. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, coupe metallic blue is the color.
Jeez, that's beautiful, man.
How long it take until it takes you to get that reworked? And Texter, the question is, which of us, Cole or Diesel, would you trust driving that car more?
The obvious answer is me, right?
Who would you let either one of us drive it? Real question.
Listen,
question.
People tell me I'm a little bit of a chaotic driver. I've been told that once or 10 times, so he probably wouldn't let me drive it. All right, let's get to this audio, Diesel, of Dave Canales yesterday. I was told reports are that Bryce Young looked really good yesterday, knock on wood. I was doing some digging this morning. Chase Justice of WIFF4, who we've had on the show before, he reported yesterday, Diesel, that Bryce Young looked really good. He also tweeted some video of Clowney. I think it's important to note that if Bryce can make a significant jump, maybe that changes our opinion on the Panthers win total. But here is what Dave Canales had to say.
I think DJ Wanham's got a ways to go to just continue to progress, and Jonathan Brooks has a little bit of ways to go, so we'll kind of progress them into camp. Eku Leota, again, we expect him to be ready for camp. But again, guys that are coming in with soft tissue things, we just have to be smart about ramping them up as we go.
So that's Dave Canales talking about some soft tissue issues with guys like Wanham, Guys like the running back they just drafted, Jonathan Brooks out of Texas. Diesel, I do want to ask the question.
That sounds like the name of a podcast for disaffected Carolina Panthers fans. Soft tissue issues.
Soft tissue. I was thinking Gamecock fans, but that's fine too. We can use Panthers fans. I want to ask the question, though, because let's say, you and I hear this a lot in sports. We hear coaches say that the biggest jumps from year one to year two, right? Just a few weeks ago, you and I talked about the Panthers' schedule, their win total, how many games we thought they would win. Let's say that you and I are both a little off on how good Bryce Young will be this year. Let's say he comes out and he impresses people. He did have a stretch toward the end of last season where he played well. If Bryce could make a significant jump from year one to year two in your mind, would that change your opinion on the Panthers' win total?
Well, I think the Carolina Panthers are going to get 5 this year.
Okay.
I feel good at 5. I'm not willing to go 6 without going down the schedule. It's just off the top of my head. I'd be willing to give them 5 this year. That's 3 more wins than last year. Bryce Young certainly improved down the stretch, looked good late, had chances to win games late. And, they've retooled the offensive line. They got him a new weapon at wide receiver.
Yep.
We'll just have to wait and see, how fast Xavier Legette progresses. I want to put that in the back of every single Carolina Panther and every single South Carolina Gamecock fan's mind. Don't put so much pressure on him to be great and to be that number one guy fresh out of the gate, because he won't be.
You talk about Legette?
Yeah, he won't be.
Yeah, that's fair.
But it's okay for Legette to be a serviceable number 3 right now.
It is. And look, the reality of it is we asked a couple of weeks ago when we had our guest on from the Panthers podcast is Locked On, Julian Council.
Yeah.
We asked Julian Council that question about Legette being, a 3 or a 1 right now on this Panthers team. I agree with you, Diesel, that him being a 3 is okay as far as expectations go to enter the season. However, I would say that by the midpoint of the season, I think Legette needs to be pushing for that 2 receiver. Like, you got to –
that's fair.
You can't be the 3 it's like I said to Julian Council. You don't draft a guy in the first round to be the number 3 receiver.
Right. He's just a different type of wide receiver, obviously, from Adam Thielen. And as of right now, Adam Thielen is the most shorthanded guy they've got catching balls in Carolina. But, they didn't have a whole lot of options last year. Everybody knew the ball was going to be thrown because they didn't have a running back.
Sure.
And everybody knew that they were going to have to throw the ball quickly because they didn't have an offensive line. And everybody knew that the ball was going to Adam Thielen because they didn't have anybody else out there to catch the ball. I mean, you're not going to be successful if those are the conditions that you're playing under. But we'll have to see. Obviously, with who is it? Austin Corbett. That's going to be playing center this year. Is that right? Is it Austin Corbett?
It's Corbett. Yeah.
2 new guards. Veteran guards coming in. I think Bryce Young is going to have a little bit more time to throw the ball this year, and he's going to have multiple weapons to throw the ball to.
Yeah.
I like the improvement there for the Carolina Panthers. If the defense can just be average in the league, I think they have a chance to win a couple more games.
Shane on the stream says, don't forget Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson's a good receiver. Is he anything more than a good receiver? I don't know that he is. Okay. And again, I'm not just trying to poop on all the Panthers today, but he's a good receiver. He's a good receiver. He needs to be, him and Xavier Legette, in my mind, need to be competing for that 2 spot. And before too long, in my mind, Xavier Legette needs to be competing for the 1. But Diesel, look, the reality of it is, for me, if Bryce can make a significant jump from year 1 to year 2, yeah, I think it does change my Panther win total. Julian Council put it a really good way. He said, what if I told you the Panthers tripled their wins, right? And I said, oh, that sounds good. But tripling 2, it's not a significant jump, but it is a jump.
What if I told you the Panthers reduced the number of fans who had a drink thrown on them?
Man, that's too soon. Dave's going to call in. Phone's ringing right now. This is Dave Canales. He's upset.
Or Dave Tepper.
Dave Tepper, I mean. Dave Canales probably don't care because he's focused on football. Dave Tepper, probably
focused on everything else.
You wouldn't think that billionaire owners would listen to like local media, but Dave Tepper would come across as a guy to me that would listen to like Charlotte radio to hear what they're saying about what are they saying about the Panthers? Let's listen.
I don't think he cares so much what they're saying about the Panthers as to what they're saying about him.
That's true. Yeah, because he don't care about the
He's an
Panthers.
egomaniac. They don't really care about the Panthers. He's got to think about Charlotte FC. He's got to think about all the concerts. Which, by the way, I looked up their list of concerts. They got one scheduled for the summer. Look at all those concerts. All those concerts.
Who
Dave
is it?
Tepper's bringing to
Is
Charlotte.
it Morgan?
It's a country artist.
Morgan Wallen, I'm sure. Because you got to think that big stadium, like you don't just schedule anybody there, right? Because that's a big stadium, and a lot of artists can't fill that up. I'm gonna guess Luke or Morgan if it's country, because those are the only two right now that can fill it up.
Pulling up the stadium event list.
My
right
guess
now,
is Luke Combs.
Something that's not sports. Okay, they do have Morgan Wallen.
Yeah,
doing
Morgan.
2 nights, Thursday and Friday, July 18th and 19th.
Wow, that's a big get. Two nights,
and that's it. That's the only concert scheduled this summer. Thanks, Dave. Thanks for bringing all these concerts to Charlotte.
Well, I got Morgan Wallen.
Speaking of which, if you jumped over to the PNC Music Pavilion events list, there's a ton of them going on over there.
Yeah.
Dave didn't bring a damn one of those.
Hey, what about the video, though, Diesel, that Chase Justice of WYFF4 tweeted yesterday of Clowney? You know, I know a video is a video, but Clowney looked, I want to use the word fresh. You know, he is getting older in terms of an NFL defensive player alignment.
Did he look adequate?
He looked adequate. Okay. Looked fresh. You know, for a guy like Clowney, the burst, right? That's what I want to see. Does he still have that burst off the line of scrimmage? And if he does, you know, he could be a problem for offenses. You know, I really am going to try to pump hope into the Panthers, Diesel, because we want them to be good. We don't want to be terrible.
That's how I felt last year doing the pregame show. I was hopeful for the first 3 weeks or
that
so,
was tough,
and then it faded real fast. Yeah,
the first Panthers pregame show, Diesel had Panthers fans calling in. The last show,
great.
They had Panthers fans calling in. I
was paying them to call in. Hey, Cole, when we come back, we're going to take a look at Game 3, last night's Game 3 of the NBA Finals that, well, got pretty interesting down the stretch, but nevertheless, the Celtics are still up 3-0 in the NBA Finals. We'll get to that discussion next here on 97.7 FM in Greenville, 97.1 FM in Spartanburg, on the free Odyssey app, after the fact on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. We love you for listening. However you listen, whenever you listen, we'll talk about Game 3 of the NBA Finals next on the Fan Upstate. Believe it or not, Cole, I watched an NBA game last night.
Bam.
Most of it. Half of it.
Yeah.
Half of the game. So it's actually a pretty good game for the most part. Game 3, NBA Finals. Celtics won 106-99. The Celtics had themselves a third quarter, my friend. It was a back and forth game for the majority of the first half. I think we came down to like a 1-point halftime lead. And then the Celtics turned it on in the third quarter of that game, got themselves a big old lead. And then down the stretch they came, and the Dallas Mavericks made it real interesting. And then all hell broke loose, Cole. All hell broke loose. Luka Doncic fouled out. 4 minutes to go in the game when his team needed him the most. He pulled a stupid and essentially abandoned his team.
Listen, I can't believe I'll ever say this. I can't believe I'm saying it now because he's the reason they're there, but he cost them last night. I mean, he really did.
Yeah.
His antics with the referees, the complaining, for as good as he is, one of the best on the planet, Diesel, you've got to be better.
Here was Brian Windhorst last night talking about this. He just rips Luka Doncic here in this clip.
Yeah, I thought it was perfect that Luka fell onto the ground there in an unacceptable position to put himself in with 4 minutes left with 5 fouls, and then immediately looks at the bench and says, you better bleeping challenge it, as if it's the bench's fault that he just made a terrible play. I'm standing here in the Mavericks tunnel. Over there is the Celtics tunnel. That's where the winners are. If Luka's ever going to be a winner coming out of this tunnel here, he is going to have to use what's happened in this finals as a learning experience. His defensive performance is unacceptable. He is a hole on the court. The Celtics are attacking him. They are ahead in this series because they've attacked him defensively. He is costing his team because of how he treats the officials. He's a brilliant player. He does so many things well. They are here because of how he did. His performance in this game is unacceptable, and the reason why the Mavericks are not going to win. And that's where the Mavericks are at this point. They're never going to get to this tunnel with the trophy if he doesn't improve those aspects of his game.
Yeah, it got down to a close game, 4 minutes to go. Within 3, I think at that point, Luka fouls out. 4 minutes to go in that game on a dumb foul.
Yeah.
And then he tried to argue, it's not a foul, challenge it. No, dude, you fouled him.
I'll tell you this, man. I give a ton of credit to Joe Mazzulla. I give a ton of credit to Joe Mazzulla and this staff for Boston for doing exactly what Brian Windhorst just said. Diesel, they are 110% targeting Luka. They're going after Luka for as good as a player he is offensively. He is a little bit of a liability defensively. He tries to defend, but his defense, it's not good. He tries. Like, I'll give him that. He tries. It's just not impactful.
You think it's I gotta slow my guy down so that the other defenders behind me can pick him up?
I don't think Kyrie has the quickness laterally to be able to move with guys on. Like, Boston has dudes. Like, Boston has guys that can get up and down the court, but also can move laterally across the court. And
well, it helps when you can rotate a lot of guys in, right? And you don't have to put Kyrie and Luka on the court the whole time.
Yeah, and you know what? Derek Lively, the rookie, has been a rookie this series. He's been just that. Dallas's bench, I said last week at the golf tournament, we were at the Carolina Country Club. That's what I said, Diesel. I thought that Dallas's bench would be the reason that Boston goes up in the series. I didn't think they'd go up 3-0. I thought they'd win the series. I didn't think it'd be a potential sweep like you and I talked about yesterday, but here we are. Joe Mazzulla has outcoached Jason Kidd. I love Jason Kidd. I really do. I think he's a really good coach. However, Jason Kidd has not had the puzzle pieces, if you will, to fix or stop the bleeding that has been the liability of the defensive unit for the Dallas Mavericks.
What was interesting about that game, Cole, is, we know Kristaps Porzingis didn't play in that game, and we thought, oh man, everybody's going to have to step up to make up. What did he score in game 1? 20 points. I don't know what he scored in game 2, but it was a lot.
It was a lot.
The interesting thing about the way Boston played in this game, Cole, is games 1 and 2, everybody was scoring at least 10 points, right? Everybody was scoring in double digits. In game 3, only 3 Boston Celtics scored in double digits. Tatum, Brown, and Derek White all scored at least 16 points. Tatum scored 31. Jaylen Brown scored 30 points. Outside of that, Cole, a lot of Boston scorers were not present in that game. So
yeah.
It's always interesting to see how the flows of these games happen. It's not like every game is gonna play out exactly the same. But man, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown were phenomenal in Game 3.
The reality of it is, while Dallas is down 3-0, they've had opportunities to win 2 games, in my opinion. They have had 2 opportunities to win games and haven't been able to close Boston out, to take the lead. And you're right. Other than those guys, there wasn't a lot of help. As Shane said on the stream, Tim Hardaway Jr. has been terrible. He has been non-existent. But look, we know that every now and then Tatum's going to give you the 30, 31 as he did last night. But Jaylen Brown is that dude. Like, he's the guy that makes the difference. As good as Tatum is, this Boston team's not in the NBA Finals without Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown is one of the most underrated players in the NBA. And look, is he the best defender on the planet? No, but he's not the worst. And he's able to actually do both unlike Luka. And that's a big part of it. It really is.
And an unselfish ball obviously plays a big part in what the Boston Celtics do. 26-15 was the assist difference. That was the big one. When you can move the ball around, get the ball around, put it in a lot of people's hands, you're going to be much more successful than when you have to put it in Kyrie's hands. You have to put it in Luka's hands.
Diesel, I posted this on Twitter and Facebook earlier today, and I have gotten the fans all riled up. What did I post? Well, we're going to discuss it right here on the Fan Upstate next. Final hour of the show, and I have a very important question to ask you. If you're a Clemson fan, good. You can participate. If you're a South Carolina Gamecock fan, good. You can participate as well. And by participate, I mean tell me how I'm wrong and shouldn't have asked this question. It's a stupid question. Why would you ask that? People on Facebook and Twitter, man, it's unbelievable.
Argue with damn anything. We've created an army of professional arguers.
That's true.
That's all anybody wants to be online, right? That's all anybody wants to do is argue. They can never, ever let it go. They can never admit when they're wrong. They would rather just change the subject, argue something else.
So I asked this question, and somebody told me, I don't know why you'd ask that question. Well, it has 31 comments already, and it hasn't even been posted for 4 hours. But I asked the question, and I want to hear what you, the Tolo, has to say. That stands for turn it on, leave it on. Diesel, I put this on our socials earlier today, right when the show started. Which fan base has more concern heading into the 2024 season, Clemson or South Carolina? And I do not mean big picture, which program's better, okay? For whatever reason, people on Facebook, Justin, I love you. Appreciate you following us. Love that you listen. I'm not asking a big picture question. He says these two programs aren't even in the same tier. That's not what I'm asking. Concerns, right? What concerns do you have, number one? And Diesel, which program do you think has more concerns going into the 2024 season? This is not a question of who's in the better spot.
Yeah, both obviously do.
Yep.
And you did a fine job bullet pointing some of these concerns and questions out, Cole. But I think right now, South Carolina, especially with a new quarterback coming in, is sort of playing with house money, right? You feel good about some of the moves you've made with offensive coordinator. You feel good right now because you don't know anything about Lenora Sellers. I mean, there was that one reporter, that one pundit in Columbia who basically claimed that he's going to be the second coming of Joe Montana and Tom Brady, and compared him to Cam Newton and Deshaun Watson and Joe Burrow. It's like, good God, man. Could you gas him up anymore?
Right.
If you gas him up anymore, it's going to spray out of the nozzle all over your shoes.
True. So there are concerns for both, right?
Yeah.
To your point.
I think Clemson, though, has more legitimate concerns, more nerves, more butterflies in the pit of their stomach saying, I don't know, man. Like, if it doesn't come together this year in full year number 2 of Cade Klubnik, in full year number 2 of Garrett Riley, with all these highly touted incoming freshman wide receivers, if it doesn't come together now, we're actually in deep trouble.
And I thought the same thing. However,
seems like an obvious answer.
It does. But on Facebook, the Clemson fans will tell you no. It's a very obvious answer. South Carolina has more concerns.
That's because they've drank the Kool-Aid.
So I'll read a few of them. A few good ones. I'm not going to read the dumb ones, but Jeremy says both South Carolina needs bowl eligibility to feel confident with Beamer and the direction the program's going. Clemson needs to make the ACC championship to feel confident in Dabo's decision to remain out of the transfer portal. Jeremy, Nix, great comment, right? Level-headed. Any pushback there on that one?
No, I do question, though, even if they don't make the ACC championship and we have another data point of Dabo's policy in the portal not coming to fruition and not working out for him, I still don't think he's going to change his mind. I still don't think he's going to change his stance, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think Clemson fans some Clemson fans are hoping that he's at least willing to come off of his very stubborn stance with the portal. You don't have to go out and get every guy. You don't have to be Florida State going out and getting everybody. You don't have to be Colorado going out and stocking your entire roster with portal guys. But you can use it strategically.
One of my favorite comments is from Jason Santelli on Facebook. And I did respond back to Jason. I said, great answer, Jason. I thought it was a good answer. He didn't say, oh, this is a dumb, it's a good answer. Jason said, I would say they're pretty close to equal. Even though their severity is quite different, Clemson's season would be considered unsuccessful if they don't at least play in the ACC championship game and end up being on the bubble of making or missing the college football playoff. whereas the Gamecock season boils down to will they get 6 wins and make a bowl or not. That's kind of for the season. So, again, Jason, I like your answer. Justin said obvious answer. The two aren't even in the same tier. And I think Justin did not understand what I meant by that, Diesel.
Misunderstood the assignment.
Yeah, I get they're both not the same tier. Trust me. We understand that. But to the bullet points you were referencing, Clemson, they have questions about Cade Klubnik, Garrett Riley, Davo's involvement in the portal, recruiting drop-off. In 2020, they had the number 3 recruiting class in the country, Diesel. Last year, they had the number 11 or 13, so there has been a drop-off, even though Clemson fans don't want to admit it. South Carolina has concerns as well. Can the hires of Furry and Elliott be enough to fill the gaps and get more out of each position group? I think that's very important with Mike Furry at receiver. The receiver room, how do you replace a guy like Xavier Legette? Beamer told you and I at the Gamecock Club meeting, Diesel, that there was no receivers that have really stepped up yet. Remember, deep down, is Beamer the guy? Dowell Loggins, uncertainty at OC. Will Sellers have the protection? So as you can see, there are concerns from both programs, but my question to you is which program has the most concern? 71307, start your text with the word fan.
To your point, Clemson last year, being players that are now on the roster who can play and actually contribute, Clemson had the number 11 recruiting class in America. Good recruiting class.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not sitting here saying that that's trash and that all the players on that roster are trash and they'll never be able to win games with those players.
Yeah.
None of us are saying that, Cole. As a matter of fact, they even got 2 5-stars out of that class. Pretty good. 11 4-stars in that class. But when you compare that to the 5 5-stars that Georgia got, that Alabama got, the 3 that Miami got, the 4 that Ohio State and Texas got, you now put yourself in a position where, as good as those guys are, they may not be good enough to beat those teams.
Texter from the 203 says Clemson has more concern because they are falling off of the top. Carolina is optimistic because we are preparing for the brutal schedule. Texter 203, listen to you. I like it. I like the text. Valid point. See, we were told on Facebook that no, Carolina has more concern. 203, good text message.
Oh, this is rough. This texter, come on, you got to raise your standard here. He says,
right.
As a Gamecock fan, 6 wins, I'm a happy camper. If Clemson doesn't get 10 wins, they're going to blank a brick. 6 wins, come on, man. Like, you should be happy at 7. You should be 6 is neutral. 6 is it was all right. You can't say you're happy with 6. I mean, 6 gets you a bowl game, right? You feel good about making a bowl game, but guess what? Like, Akron made a bowl game last year.
Bullwinkle on the text line says, me being a Clemson fan, the biggest concern is the offense finally getting back on track and scoring points. Cade coming into his own. South Carolina has a 4-win season looking them in the eye, so anything higher will keep Beamer's job. Again, that comes from Bullwinkle. I don't hate that.
I think South Carolina fans, I can't tell if you're nervous or if you're just it is what it is mode with Shane Beamer, because Shane Beamer has another 5-win season. I think the seat gets very hot. Very hot.
You say 5 wins?
5 wins. This is what they had last year.
Yeah. Let's see. Texter from the 549 says, I'm not concerned. I'm optimistic. I'm playing with house money as a Carolina fan. I like that text. 803 says, I think the pressure is on Beamer and Garrett Riley specifically. I don't disagree with that. Let me click on the text so I can read the rest of it. But my call now is both teams will finish with 8 wins. What? South Carolina will be excited for the future, and Clemson will fire some staff members not named Davo, and the sky will be falling. Texter, that's a big, bold projection.
8 wins
there.
for both.
It'd be great for Carolina, terrible for Clemson.
You should never drink the balling water, Texter. Let's see. That texter responded to me, Cole, and said, hey, Diesel, 6-6 with a bowl win equals 7 there, bud. Well, bud, you didn't say 6 wins with a bowl win, did you, bud? No, you didn't, guy. You said as a Gamecock fan, 6 wins and I'm a happy camper. You never said 6 wins and a bowl win, dude. You said 6 wins and I'm a happy camper, bud. You never said a bowl win, guy.
Y'all can fire Diesel up easy if you can't tell. Let's see. Text from 203 says, we are playing 6 to 7 top 25 teams this year. I don't know what to tell you, bro. It's just being honest, bro.
I'm not your buddy, guy. I'm not your guy, friend.
Texter, I'm trying to understand. Were you talking to me there?
No, he's responding. That's the same guy that just said 6 and 6
okay.
with a bowl win equals 7. Texter, we don't gauge teams based on their regular season wins and bowl wins.
Madcraft.
We gauge a season's success based on regular season wins.
Madcraft on the stream says South Carolina should have more concern. Clemson is just an anxious bunch who expect more. If Shane has another year like he has, then oh boy.
Clemson fans are a twitchy bunch right now. There's a few that are just desperately clinging on to all the arguments of GPA and graduation rates and everything's gonna be fine. Don't worry, all is well. Y'all are clinging onto that. You are white knuckling that narrative right now. And you're either going to be proven right or you're going to have a rough offseason going into next year.
Tyler, I've listened to enough of you. Tyler, I've listened to enough of you.
Tyler, we've listened to enough of you. Tyler.
We had a great phone call with Don Munson the next day.
I think I remember that.
Cole.
Yeah.
It was great. I mean, I love Don. He's a fellow Mountaineer. I love Don. Hi, yikes, Don. We asked him, what was it like sitting across from Dabo in that situation?
Sure.
He goes, well, I've only seen Dabo blow up a few times, and I can tell when it's about to happen. He goes, so I just lean back in the chair and let it go.
What else do you do? What else do you do?
Is Don Munson going to tell Dabo, yo, Dabo, calm down?
Yeah, really. I mean,
no, man, it's great audio.
I mean, it is. I mean, Dabo says it.
And you're part of the problem.
I mean, he was fired up. But look, to answer my own question, which fan base has more concern? You may disagree. You may push back. There is a difference between big picture concern and everyday, day-to-day concern. I think South Carolina has more day-to-day concern, Diesel.
Mm-hmm.
Big picture concern, I think Clemson does.
Yeah.
Beamer, all I was going to say is Beamer may be the guy, he may not be. But guess what? Carolina fans aren't going to be surprised either way, right? If he doesn't win the games that he's supposed to, Carolina fans will go get another coach, and they're used to the losing. I'm not taking a shot. I'm just saying that it's because it's true. Clemson fans aren't used to losing, and that's why I think they have more big picture problems.
Yeah, there are certain concerns that you can work around, right? If you have the pieces around them to mask those problems. If Cade Klubnik wasn't that great, but you had good receivers, you had a good line, and you had good running backs, you could mask a lot of Cade Klubnik's deficiencies, but you don't. All of those things are problems.
Trey in Kentucky says both USC and Clemson will not achieve program expectations. I assume he means this year.
We should officially set expectations and say this is what it is
for both programs.
We need to set some expectations on this show, Cole, and we need to do some polling. We need to do some call-ins. Tell us what you think.
Yeah, it sounds like a good July segment.
And we're not going to let you work around this thing and say, well, the 10 wins for Clemson unless we have a lot of injuries again this year. No, man, everybody has injuries. This is football, okay?
Yeah.
Some schools have bigger injuries than others, but everybody has injuries. It all comes out in the wash.
No, I think that's a good idea. I think that for the majority of fans, they would agree what the expectations are. I think that we could probably do it quicker than you and I would think we could do it, just based off a couple of text messages. But I do think it's a good idea, a good July to get us through the dog days of July segment. Because the reality of it is both programs do have different expectations. We can't sit here and say both programs expect to win the national championship. You can't say that right now.
I'm going to put it this way, Cole. Shane Beamer is in save his job mode. Dabo Sweeney is in save his program mode. Is that fair to say?
No, it is. It's not. I don't hate that. I don't disagree with it.
I don't think Dabo really cares if he gets fired. I mean, he doesn't want to get fired, right? But he doesn't care. He's willing to take this thing down, with the whole thing down with him. if he goes. So Dabo's
So-
trying to save the program. He might even be trying to save college football from his seat there in Pickens County.
And that ain't going to happen.
No.
Listen, I've been told by several people, including Don Munson, who you referenced, that Dabo's a guy, love him or hate him, but Dabo's a guy that's going to do things Dabo's way, and he's going to die on that hill, right? Is it going to cost Clemson more than it would an SEC school? No, because the reality of it is, and a lot of Clemson fans might not want to admit this, but the reality of it is, Diesel, Dabo can be stubborn with his portal views and it not cost Clemson as much because they play in the ACC, right? There are a lot of teams in the SEC. What I'm getting at is you can't cover up the efficiencies in the SEC. You can in the ACC.
This would be the worst possible time if this, were an alternate reality. And if Clemson and Florida State had just been invited into the SEC.
Yeah.
As, a lot of people predicted that it would happen, but it didn't. They're still sitting in the ACC. But if that had happened, this would be the worst possible time to have a coach who takes that stance. You can just get away with it because you're in the ACC, and even with who you've got, you can still out-talent everybody in the ACC.
You can get away. Like I said, man, it's hard to be in the SEC and have deficiencies, have holes. You can do it a little bit more in the ACC than you can in the SEC. That's just the reality of it. I mean, that is if that offends you, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to allow you to get your conference flags up and your conference homers. I'm not doing that. I'm just telling you that it helps that Clemson's in the ACC. If Dabo, with his stance and his anti-portal views, if that was in the SEC, in my opinion, Diesel, this thing would have crashed and burned already.
Yeah, small picture, recruiting rankings 2024, Miami had the number 4 class in America. Shout out to Matt Kraft and his Miami Hurricanes for having a phenomenal recruiting class. Clemson 11, Florida State 12. Almost everybody else in the top 10 is SEC. Georgia 1, Alabama 2, Texas 6, LSU 7, Oklahoma 8, Auburn 10. Auburn sucks, and they have a better recruiting class than you, Clemson.
Auburn's the homecoming team now.
Auburn is Georgia's homecoming team. Florida State 12, Florida 13, Tennessee 14. I mean, you got to go a ways down the line until you find another ACC team. 26, North Carolina, 28, NC State.
Yeah.
So you should easily be able to outcompete and out-talent UNC and NC State. But right around you guys, you got Florida State and Miami sitting right there. Lucky for Clemson, they don't play Miami this year.
All you ACC homers out there, your conference sucks.
Thanks, Brett, for that reminder, that daily reminder. That's great, though. I mean, look, am I making this into a conference argument? No. Am I telling you that Dabo's refusal to use the portal in the SEC would crash and burn a lot quicker? Heck yeah. I mean that. I really do.
Cole, speaking of SEC and ACC rivalry, it's playing out right before our eyes in Omaha. As a matter of fact, we have Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered with toes in the sand in the stadium calling us from the field. How awesome is that? That's coming up next here on the Fan Upstate.
I do like Tennessee a lot, guys. From the ACC, I like North Carolina. I think North Carolina is as complete as any. Just top to bottom, they got one of the best players in college baseball, and Van Honeycutt. So I could see them at minimum being in the finals, and I think they will be actually. I think they'll take down Tennessee. It's hard, guys, to pick the number one overall seed when it hasn't happened in 25 years. It just is, So I'm going North Carolina in that top bracket. In that bottom bracket, I tell you, listen, the Florida Gators, y'all let them in the club, and now they're on the table popping bottles, ordering tequila shots for everybody. I mean, they're going crazy. You should not have let them in the party, is all I'm saying. So, if Florida can beat Texas A&M Saturday night, guys, Kentucky, NC State are the other two in that bracket. Besides Texas A&M, who they play in the first game. I like Florida in both those matchups, guys. So. To see the Gators make a run, but again, it's so tough to pick, guys. And then again, Kentucky, NC State, their brand of baseball, can it last here in Omaha? I think it can. So I know that's kind of a roundabout answer, but North Carolina, Tennessee, and I say Florida are probably my top three that I feel the best about.
Chris Phillips, SEC Unfiltered, joins us here on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. A little correction to what I said earlier. Eric Bakich did take Michigan to Omaha in 2019, College World Series runners up that year. Chris, who are you looking at as the most dangerous hitter this cycle in Omaha? You got Honeycutt out of UNC, who you mentioned, Tibbs out of Florida State, Moore from Tennessee, Jack Caglione, of course, he's electric as well. Who's going to have the most pop? If people are fans of offensive baseball, who do they need to look out for?
It's hard not to say Jack Caglione right now, guys. I mean, the way he's swinging it. Listen, the only reason, Diesel, he may not be the answer, our team's going to pitch to him. I mean, again, we were there in Clemson, and it got to a point where we're like, why are you still pitching to Jack Caglione? I mean, we saw it in the first inning or second inning or whatever it was of that Sunday game where he literally hits one over the batter's eye. And what's crazy, Diesel, if you watch that series, Jack Caglione, the home runs he was hitting, it's like he wasn't even catching them all the way. It wasn't like it was his best swing, and they're still leaving the yard. Granted, Clemson is a small ballpark. This is much bigger. I mean, we got 335 down the line, 375 in the gaps, and 408 to dead center. So this is a pretty sizable, pretty big ballpark. I like Cags. Christian Moore is definitely one, like you mentioned. I think maybe the most well-rounded here in this tournament. So I'll kind of go off the script. Jack Caglione is so easy to say. I'll go Christian Moore. I think SEMO, he's been one of the best players in the country this year. Maybe not as talked about as he should be because of Cags and Condon existing in college baseball this year. But I'll go Christian Moore, man. He's so much fun to watch. Going to be a first rounder, no doubt. And I think he's going to have a really big tournament.
Chris, Clemson or South Carolina? Which team will make it back to the Omaha series first, in your opinion?
It's a great question, Cole. I mean, I got to go Clemson right now. I'm going to go Clemson. I mean, they were 2 games away this year, and I think that Clemson baseball is not going away anytime soon again. And I'm not saying that South Carolina – I'll put it to you this way. It has been, 12 years for South Carolina? It has been 14 years for Clemson. It's not going to be another 12 or 14 years, guys. Somebody, I think, within the next 3 to 4 years is going to get there. Again, I do believe, guys, and I mentioned this earlier in the week, I think Paul Maneri can get South Carolina back to Omaha. I mean, again, you look at his track record, you look at his resume. Guys, even with Mark Kingston as head coach, who I label as incompetent, I mean, it's not like South Carolina was that far off, right? A couple of times, they were only a game or 2 away from getting there. So now you got a guy that knows the game. He's going to put the right assistants in place. I think South Carolina is more than capable of making it in the next 2 to 3 years. And then again, guys, Clemson with Eric Bakich, this year had a great opportunity on the home field and couldn't get it done. And I know people will say it's been 14 years. They just can't figure it out in the postseason. But I think Bakich is going to have Clemson right back in that situation. I wouldn't be surprised if as soon as next year, maybe you see Clemson make it. So I was surprised they didn't make it this year, honestly. So I'll say Clemson, but I think within the next 5 years, guys, I think both South Carolina and Clemson will make an Omaha appearance.
Chris, you can't go to New Orleans without getting a beignet. You can't go to Omaha without getting a Jell-O shot at Rocco's. My question is, are you going to spread your Jell-O shot money out among the SEC teams and flavors, or are you going to stick to one?
Diesel, that is the best question, I think, of this interview, and the best question. That's like the question of the weekend, I think, for myself, for SEC Unfiltered, because I was asking some other folks, do I buy one Jell-O shot and tell the folks, hey, just mark one next to all the SEC teams. I don't want to just show bias to one, or buy 4 Jell-O shots to count for each team. You got to go with 4, man. I mean, come on. We're not going to try to cheat Rocco's here, or 8. Yeah, you can't cheat the system, right? So, I mean, we're going to make sure the SEC is well represented. We're going to have some fun in the process. So, yeah, we're going to be loading up on some Jell-O shots. And like you said, you can't come to Omaha without getting the Drover steak. We're going to get some steak as well. So I'm going to make sure to see the sights and, really get the full Omaha experience.
Chris, my last question for you. Of the 8 teams, if I told you this team, no good, they don't deserve to be there, they're going to get booted. Of the 8, if you had a power rank 1 through 8, which one of those 8 would you say, in your opinion, has the least chance to win it all?
Oh, that's a good question because, again, the field is so loaded, Cole, and this little segment right here has got the potential to blow up my face, but that's never scared me off before. So the team that I feel least confident about, I will go with I'm going to go with NC State. They're standing right behind me, so I didn't want to say that too loud. But, no, I'm going to go the NC State Wolfpack. I know they've been able to scrap out games. I like Kentucky over them. I know actually in our show early in the week I picked NC State to win, but I'm changing my mind here on the air. I'm going to go with Kentucky to beat them. I think NC State goes 2-2. If I'm going to pick somebody to go 2-2, I think it is going to be NC State. Again, I think they're facing a really tough Kentucky team in that first game, and whether they get Texas A&M or Florida, it's going to be really, really difficult to stay alive. So I think NC State's path to 0-2, guys, I will say, they have the most clear path to 0-2, which isn't a path you want to have a clear path to for sure.
Chris, help us out. What's the best place for our wire-to-wire Tolos to go to get your SEC Unfiltered coverage from Omaha?
Yeah, Diesel, I appreciate that. I mean, all across social media, X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, also YouTube, podcasts. We're doing stuff in there. We'll actually have reaction videos and following each and every single game from myself, Dave Shoemate, Cole Thompson, our entire SEC Unfiltered team here. Those are going to be published on YouTube podcast. And actually today I'll be live from Omaha on Texas Sports Unfiltered, hanging out, just kind of wandering around and documenting my journey from 3 to 4 Central, 4 to 5 Eastern. So everywhere you normally find us, Diesel, that's where you can find all the coverage, and there will be plenty of it for sure. So again, guys, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity, man. It's really a dream come true, first time for me, and to have boots on the ground, the most hallowed ground in college baseball is something special for sure.
Chris, great stuff as always, man. We appreciate you taking time to join us today, man.
Yeah, Cole Diesel, y'all lecture, man. Appreciate it.
That is Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. We will talk about the NCAA tournament in Omaha again tomorrow, but we appreciate Chris hopping on with us today.
Man, I'm jealous. I don't know that I've ever been as jealous of anybody saying, but it's the toes in the dirt, man. It's being on the field in Omaha, covering it. You can go as a fan, right? And you can sit in the stands, and that's great. But fans don't get to put their toes on the base paths.
Yeah.
And that's just next level, man. And I'm happy for Chris that he's there. When we come back, Cole, we're going to react to the audio that we heard to start this 4 o'clock hour, the press conference with Paul Maneri, new head coach at South Carolina for the baseball program. We're going to react to that on the other side right here on the Fan Upstate.